Majority Report with Sam Seder.
The destiny of America is always safer in the hands of the people than in the conference rooms of any elite.
Sam Seder.
They are unanimous in their hate for me, and I welcome their hatred.
We must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
The Majority Report with Sam Seder.
Ever get the feeling you've been cheated?
It is Monday, December 22nd, 2025. My name is Sam Seder. This is the five-time award-winning Majority Report. We are broadcasting live steps from the industrially ravaged Gowanus Canal in the heartland of America, downtown Brooklyn, USA. On the program today, House members seek contempt charges against Pam Bondi over the Epstein Files cover-up. Schumer, meanwhile, intros legislation in the Senate for the same. Trump halts 5 wind farms off the U.S. East Coast because electricity prices are not high enough. Meanwhile, Denmark upset as Trump appoints Louisiana governor envoy to Greenland, who also wants U.S. to control Greenland. New CBS News chief Bari Weiss preempts a 60 Minutes story on the El Salvador gulag because she was afraid of hurting Stephen Miller's fifis. Meanwhile, Kilmar Garcia to face a federal judge over his return to immigration custody. Israel establishes 19 more illegal settlements in the West Bank. Netanyahu blocks the independent investigation into October 7th and pitches Donald Trump on another bombing run in Iran. Trump regime has a secret deal with 11 states to purge voter rolls, suing the rest of them. U.S. looking to pirate a third Venezuelan tanker in a bid for regime-changing war with Venezuela. And Elise Stefanik. We won't have her to kick around anymore. She drops out of the race and is leaving politics.
Oh. Delicious.
ICE hiring bounty hunters from private prison company Geo. All this and more on today's Majority Report. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is
Fun Day Monday.
Not just Fun Day Monday, but the final Fun Day Monday of 2025.
At least live Fun Day Monday.
Well, the last
truly Fun Day Monday, because we've got best ofs next Monday.
That's correct.
We got best of starting on the 24th, folks.
In some ways, the next Fun Day Monday will be more fun.
Exactly right.
Because we won't have the litany of horrible stories to discuss, although, because
it's implied.
Probably the best of is probably also real.
Yeah, at least you'll be nostalgic.
Yes. Right. And I should also say that today is my final day of the year live. Although, yeah, wait, no, that's in January.
No, I'll be live.
You'll be live tomorrow.
Yeah. We still don't have a guest yet, so it's going to be just me talking about the show Heated Rivalry for 45 minutes. No, I'm joking. We'll do a show, but
I have a visit from jolly old St. Nicholas. No, I'm joking.
If anyone wants to talk about Heated Rivalry in the IMs, please do IM in, because it's all.
I did see my first trailer for that.
It is so good. It's all the girls and the gays are talking about, baby.
I have not heard of this at all, but it's Fun Day Monday, so. Live and learn. As you know, the Trump administration, or I should say the DOJ, was compelled by legislation to release the Epstein files by Friday night at 11:59 p.m. Statutorily, they had 30 days from the passage of the law. They waited until day 30. in the final hours. And then they released only part of it because they said they didn't have enough time.
It's final season. The college kids can relate to that.
Right.
They didn't have enough time to go through or, clean it of all of the pictures and the documents regarding Donald Trump. And in some instances, they put up stuff and did not vet it carefully enough because the pictures weren't. There were photos that they took down. And do you have the close-up in there too? I linked the close-up. Okay. Well, here is a, where's the bigger one? If you scroll up, I think you'll see the bigger one. There was one photo as an example. No, go back. I'm sorry. Oh shoot. It was in the Slack, the one before that. There were photos that obviously the stooge, well, there's two explanations. One is that the stooges at the DOJ are just not detailed oriented enough and didn't look closely at these photographs. Or there are people in the DOJ who are like, F this guy, I think I can sneak this one through.
We had this theory about the metadata in the footage for Epstein's cell. If you recall, earlier this year, Wired uncovered or reported on, just looking at the file, the metadata from the supposedly unedited footage outside Epstein's cell, and found out that there were multiple minutes that were taken out in Adobe Premiere. Now, this is a very incompetent FBI and DOJ. They have purged their ranks of the more career people, the more competent folks. So that's an explanation. And
competent people tend to leave operations like this. That's basically what happens.
Competent people, you mean, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's one explanation. But you also have an explanation that perhaps someone's trying to leave a little bit of a breadcrumb trail. And that's also possible as well.
Well, nevertheless, we only have the close up here, but this is actually put this up. This is actually was in a drawer of a desk that somebody had opened up.
Yeah.
And these photos of Trump were all in the desk. And the picture is much wider than this. So you really have to zoom in. And you can see Trump is there surrounded by four women. Unclear where this is or whatnot. But here is Todd Blanche explaining why they took this picture down after the fact. Now, remember, I also think the other explanation is like they wanted to do these, like this is like a limited hangout stuff because there's a lot more stuff that they did not, and they redacted and they did not release.
The whole grand jury testimony is just a bunch of black pages. They released a lot of things that on their face seem salacious, like Michael Jackson being photographed with Jeffrey Epstein, and then Diana Ross in one photo, although her son comes out and says, hey, there's a child in this whose face is blurred out. That's me. And like, this was just like these are elite people in circles together. Not everybody, Michael Jackson, he has his own, issues, but
eyebrow raise.
Right. Obviously. But point being, that doesn't mean that they are in the ring and all of that kind of stuff. It felt like they were hanging out prominent people that would not implicate the real power players that Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna have been talking about, the political donors to the Republicans and to the Democrats and Trump himself.
Here's Todd Blanche, who is the Deputy Attorney General, which he became around January 20th or 21st of this year. And of course, in early January of this year, just weeks before, he was Donald Trump's defense attorney. Well, so Trump really understood that the guy was very good at defense. Oh, yeah. Okay. Here's the wider picture. Sorry. It's right here. And she's presenting this. And again, you got to look in the drawer and you start to see the pictures of Trump. But So here is Todd Blanche on with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press.
Yes, yesterday.
Produced.
Mr. Blanche, I want to follow up with you on what you just said. You were referencing the 15 files released Friday. They disappeared from DOJ's website yesterday, including this photo of what looks like a desk with a drawer open containing photos of Donald Trump. Just to be very clear, to put a fine point on it, why were these files taken down? You're saying it was at the direction of a judge?
Well, you can see in that photo, there's photographs of women. And so we learned after releasing that photograph that there were concerns about those women and the fact that we had put that photo up. So we pulled that photo down. It has nothing to do with President Trump. There are dozens of photos of President Trump already released to the public, seeing him with Mr. Epstein. He has said that in the 90s and early 2000s, he socialized with him. So the absurdity of us pulling down a photo, a single photo, because President Trump was in it, is laughable. And the fact that everybody's trying to act like that's the case is a reflection of their true motivation. But the reality is anybody, any victim, any victim's lawyers, any victim rights group can reach out to us and say, hey, Department of Justice, there's a document, there's a photo, there's something within the Epstein files that identifies me, and we will then, of course, pull that off and investigate.
Pause it for 1 second. Hey, Todd, it's me. I'm a victim. You're my lawyer. Pull it down.
I'm worried about the victims of
I'm worried about the victims.
But do you see how he does that sleight of hand where he then begins to talk generally about if a victim were to reach out, then we would, of course, want to comply, because he can't actually say, I think, publicly that a victim did reach out.
No, undoubtedly. I'm sure he did not.
He's about to continue walking that exact tightrope.
Oh, right.
Actually.
Yeah.
Saying that one or more of the women in one of the photos or several of the photos is a victim or a survivor of Jeffrey Epstein, and that's why you took those files down, and will they be put back up?
No, that's not what I'm saying. We, of course, if we knew that, if we believed that that photograph contained a survivor, we wouldn't have put it up in the first place without redacting the faces. But notwithstanding what we believe, we don't have perfect information. And so when we hear from victims' rights groups about this type of photograph, we pull it down and investigate. We're still investigating that photo. The photo will go back up, and the only question is whether there will be redactions on the photo. And of course, if there are survivors in any of the photos, we will redact them as Congress expects us to do, as President Trump expects us to do, and as the Attorney General and Director Patel have directed the department to do.
Okay.
So any pictures of women they're going to not put up unless they find out that they are victims, in which case they'll put it back up, but with redactions. I mean, that seems to be what the standard is. If they were not contacted by a victims group about those women in those photos, they took it down because of the possibility of them being victims, but won't just simply redact all the pictures of women.
Yep.
Then they'll keep those photos off, unless, of course, people notice that you pulled it down and you get questioned about it on national television.
Right. I mean, I would like to know which victims' rights group reached out and asked them to take it down.
Oh,
Can
I
you
have
name
an idea.
one?
Yeah, it's called None.
None. Okay,
The
gotcha.
Mar-a-Lago Special Victims.
They're suddenly listening to victims' rights groups, even though we know that the victims' rights groups have been arguing for months, if not years, to release these documents. Here's Ro Khanna this morning on MS Now on Morning Joe talking about that issue.
So I just feel like when I hear you talk about inherent contempt or impeachment, I mean, these are words that Democrats have been really careful not to throw around, especially the impeachment word. It's come up a few times and you've seen leadership walk it back. Why is this time different? And do you have the backing of Democratic leadership to actually push forward with impeachment if it comes to that? Is that the next step when we come back in January?
It's different because it's coming from Republicans, too. If it was just me out there or Robert Garcia out there, it would be seen as, okay, as this is just a Democratic thing. This is going to be Thomas Massie leading it. There are a few Republicans who are on board with it, but we're not going straight to impeachment. We're starting with contempt, and the idea would be that she'd get a 30-day grace period. By the way, she's already in violation of the law. 30-day grace period to get the documents out.
30-day grace for the sergeant at arms detaining and arresting her, because that's what it is.
Well, it would be a fine. A fine of up to $5,000 each day she doesn't get these documents out. My goal is not to destroy Pam Bondi. I didn't even know who Pam Bondi was. I've gotten to know these survivors, and my goal is that on a personal level, these documents need to come out. Their lives were traumatized. They want these documents out, and whatever we can do to get the documents out.
Pablo's.
And Kana has spoken about this before, and he said, or his opinion is that basically those names are going to come out anyway because the victims know who they are.
Right.
What they need is the protection of the United States government to give them the ability to speak about who they are. And that's what the files provides. It gives them like the credibility and that they're not going to be sued out of existence, whether it's by Trump or by any of the associated individuals who are very powerful. We still don't even like some of the images that were released revealed new information. Like we saw Sergey Brin at that dinner with Donald Trump, very, very powerful Alphabet executive. And he was dining with David Brooks. That doesn't mean anything, but it just gives people a sense of like there are still names that we don't necessarily maybe know that have a lot of power, that the victims are begging the government to protect them and say like, can you provide us with this legal cover and give us the names and put that out there? And the government is actively saying, we don't want to protect you. We are protecting the wealthy. And I think that's why this story resonates.
The picture of the Epstein with Trump in it and all those pictures, why does he have those pictures of him with all these powerful people, including Bill Clinton? Why does he have it? Is
Also,
it because he
why
loves
are they
memory?
all in the drawer?
Yeah.
There's something weird about the whole way that that's staged. And I don't know if that was like, I like
a part of the search, but you see how he collects photos to Matt's point.
He's not, he loves nostalgia.
Right. He's not a freshman in college. Yeah.
Exactly. He loves making collages.
Like, I'll make my ex really jealous with this beer can.
It's insurance.
Yeah.
You can show it to people and say like, well, look, you got a problem.
Well, I think it also probably, you come into his office and you see all these pictures, it makes you feel more comfortable with having your picture taken. I mean, there's Clinton, there's, whomever. Although I got to say, 30-day grace period, they just had a 30-day grace period. A, and B, $5,000 a day? Like, Trump's not going to say, like, that's just
money
one
well spent.
email I send out about like Trump coins.
Yeah, why didn't you say so last June?
I mean, it's silly.
If it was only going to be $5,000 a day.
I'll get the boys together. We'll pitch in.
But do you think
I'll have the CEO of some random company pay for it.
Do you think that that's the like? I mean, I'm sure the fine it's insufficient, but that might be the only mechanism he thinks they can get enough Republicans on board for.
That's possible as well.
Because they're also not going to go after Trump. Just given like they're going after Pam Bondi. It's just so amazing that even at this date where Trump's unpopularity is basically record breaking, he still has the Republican Party in a chokehold. We'll play that TPUSA stuff later, but like they refuse to go after Trump. They'll go after everybody around him, but the Republicans still won't take a shot at the big guy, with like the exception of Marjorie Taylor Greene.
I mean, he's still, even with an approval rating in the mid-30s, that's still probably 60-70% minimum of the Republican Party.
Yep.
And who approve of him. Because it's not Democrats, it's not independents, it's Republicans, and you're still, maybe it's even higher, maybe it's in the 80s, but nevertheless, Trump is still the guy for now, although, time marches on.
Mm-hmm.
We've got, speaking of health, we've got a couple of sponsors, and speaking of health, one of our sponsors is ZocDoc. I don't know about you, but my social feed is filled with different health trends. Can red light therapy solve every skin problem? Should you be slamming olive oil shots? I would give the algorithm a rest and instead turn to healthcare professionals like doctors. With ZocDoc, it's easy. You can find doctors that are right for you and instantly book an appointment. ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors and click to instantly book an appointment. ZocDoc lets you book in-network appointments with more than 100,000 doctors across every specialty. You can filter for doctors who are near you. You can filter for doctors who take your insurance. You can filter for doctors who are a good fit because whatever. You prefer a female doctor, a male doctor. You are looking for someone with a good bedside manner, or who are rated as having good listening skills, or, clean waiting room. I don't know, whatever you want. You can see their actual appointment openings. This is key. As soon as you choose a doctor, you can see what appointments are available when. So there's no going back and forth talking to the receptionist or the front office there. You just click on a slot that works for you, and you book a visit. Appointments made through ZocDoc generally also happen faster than normal, just typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even get same-day appointments. I had a dental emergency. I was on the road. ZocDoc saved the day for me. I know both you guys have gotten...
I found my permanent dentist through ZocDoc.
There you go. It is super easy to use. It tells you immediately whether they take the insurance or not. There's no rigmarole. It really is, and it's all free. The website is completely free. Stop putting off those doctor appointments. Go to ZocDoc.com/majority to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That's ZocDoc.com/majority. 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 Also, sponsoring the program today, the way that I have had probably for the past 3 or 4 years, and it's only been the last 3 or 4 years, that I have left my doctor's office and him not excoriating me to increase my vitamin D. This is not going to be a surprise, people. I spent a lot of time indoors. And the way I did this is a Ritual. It is the obsessively researched multivitamin. Ritual's Essential Multis have the nutrients most of us don't get enough of from food, all in their clean, absorbable forms. No shady additives, no ingredients that can do more harm to your body than good. This is how it would go. I would leave my doctor's office, my annual physical, and he would say, you have a vitamin D deficiency. This is bad for men because of prostate cancer, I think it was. And I would say, okay. I would go to the pharmacy. I would buy a multivitamin. I would take it sporadically. And then when I ran out, I was done. And the thing that works for me about Ritual, not only do they send it to you on a monthly basis, so you never run out, but also it is much gentler on the stomach. So you don't have to worry about whether you got to eat food or not eat food. Like when you remember, which is important for me. And the stuff is all traceable, and you know that it's not coming from a place where one of the ingredients we put into this is mercury. It is a science-backed multivitamin for men 18 plus. I go with the over 50. Again, high quality, traceable key ingredients in bioavailable forms. Vitamin D3 to support normal muscle and immune function, and omega-3 DHA, HA to support heart and brain health. They're essential for men 18 plus. Multivitamin contains 10 key nutrients in 2 delayed release capsules designed for optimal absorption per day. Like I say, designed to be gentle on the stomach. And it is third-party tested for heavy metals and clean label project certified, so you know you can trust what you're putting in your body. Ritual multivitamins are vegan. They are non-GMO project verified. They are gluten and major allergen-free, made traceable. It is HSA and FSA eligible with a seamless checkout experience, so you can save when you shop with pre-tax dollars. Essential for Men is a quality multivitamin from a company you can trust. Get 25% off your first month at ritual.com/majority. That's ritual.com/majority for 25% off your first month. Also sponsoring the program today, the reason why I am functioning as well as I am functioning. Last night, I went to the Yola Tango Hanukkah show, the final one of the of Hanukkah. It was awesome. And I had a few drinks. And why am I able to function this morning? Because my first drink of the night was Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic. Z-Biotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. And here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this buildup of the byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for rough days after drinking. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme and it breaks this byproduct down. So just remember, you make pre-alcohol Z-Biotics your first drink of the night, which is what I did. I drank it like 7:30. Doors opened at 8 or 7. I don't know. I got there at 8:30. And there was a little bit of comedy. John Benjamin did a little comedy bit, and that was fun. And it was always fun to see Yola Tango. I've been seeing that band for 35 years, which is terrifying. But I had a few drinks to celebrate this morning. I feel great. I mean, I'm not going jogging, but I never jog. So there you go. Make the most of every toast this holiday season. Just don't forget to bring the pre-alcohol along for the ride. Go to zbiotics.com/majority to learn more and get 15% off your first order when you use majority at checkout. Z-Biotics is backed with a 100% money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money. No questions asked. Remember to head to zbiotics.com/majority. Use the code majority at checkout and you'll get 15% off. Also, just a reminder, if you want to support this program, go to jointhemajorityreport.com. Your support helps the show survive and thrive, and also you get the free show without the commercials.
Very nice.
So free of commercials. So jointhemajorityreport.com. Also, AM Quickie, folks. 3 days a week. Get the news in your email at 9 a.m. for a couple of bucks more. You get 5 days a week. It's a great deal.
Highly
Whitney
recommend.
Wimbish, Corey Pine, two great writers. Whitney's tearing it up at the American Prospect.
Doing a great job.
And we're lucky to have both of them. So check it out. All right, let's get into this. There was a story in the Chronicle of Higher Education about how University of Texas, University of Austin, which is the anti-woke university, unaccredited university started by Bari Weiss.
And with the help, of course, of a bunch of really, really rich guys like Andreessen, Horowitz, etc.
And what's his face? Harlan Crow.
Harlan Crow.
The guy who bought Thomas, or kept him on the Supreme Court, Clarence Thomas.
So a bunch of, Bari Weiss, her whole career has been elevated by right-wing billionaires, and this is no exception.
And the funny part about this is that UATX was started because it was supposed to be, we don't censor. We are not censorious. We allow all different opinions here. According to an analysis from the Chronicle of Higher Education, many of the people who joined UATX at the beginning of the school project have departed, either by choice or due to public disagreements with the school's trajectory. Over 20 university employees have left UATX. Eli Avashi, the co-founder and director of the Mill Institute, which is an educational organization working with UATX, was asked to leave the university after posting an article about diversity initiatives on LinkedIn. In that post, Avashi wrote, "We can have criticisms of DEI without wanting to tear down the whole concept of diversity and inclusion." And Bari Weiss fired her. In a piece for the website Quillette in May, Avashi said that she had been drawn to UATX initially because she experienced ideological tribalism while at Harvard. But Avashi said that instead, she never expected to also find ideological litmus test at UATX.
Huh.
In other words, there's ideological tribalism everywhere, but Harvard didn't fire you.
It's almost like Bari Weiss
did,
who I guess
because of what you posted on LinkedIn.
Yeah, Bari Weiss. When reading about this morning, I was reminded that I guess after the election, she hosted a debate between Sam Harris and Ben Shapiro, and Sam Harris was the Kamala representative and Shapiro was the Trump one. It's like
both sides.
Both sides. That's why. But a center-right Zionist and a far-right Zionist are going to debate American politics.
Well, that was like my old buddy Indy Mike, who said, "I'm an independent. I listen to both sides. I listen to both Megyn Kelly and Sean Hannity."
And Bill Maher now.
Yeah. But this story is not about Bari Weiss at UATX or UATX or whatever that unaccredited Trump University is.
That's at UATX.
She is now the head of all the news at CBS, based upon her running a small Substack. And there was, for weeks apparently, advertising about a 60 Minutes story that was going to be about CCOT, which of course is that gulag in El Salvador that the Trump administration sent just randos who were not American citizens there. Although I think there was one, was there one American citizen?
But either way, this is where Kilmar Abrego Garcia was sent. This is where the hairdresser, the gay hairdresser was sent, the man with the autism awareness tattoo, the real horror stories that we've highlighted. People remember that CCOT's essentially a torture camp. They horrifically abuse the detainees there.
And so CBS had advertised the segment on Friday, featuring interviews by Sharon Alfonsi, among others. They interviewed some of the deported migrants who have since been released from the gulag, saying they described, quote, the brutal and torturous conditions they endured. And Bari Weiss apparently, I think at first killed it and then said, oh, we're just actually holding it back for more content.
For comment. For comment by the Trump administration.
Well, and here's the thing. Yes, they want to actually allow Stephen Miller to go on camera. And the point is that for weeks, in fact, weeks and weeks, they have asked, at least the reporters did, comment from the White House, and they said nothing. So Sharon Alfonsi, this 60 Minutes correspondent, said that Bari Weiss had spiked the story. And the reason why we know this is because apparently the Wall Street Journal reported it because they got a hold of this email. And the email, I'll read parts of it.
This is an internal email of that correspondent to, I guess, the rest of the CBS team.
Yes, because on Saturday, apparently, Bari Weiss spiked the story, and people were found out about it like throughout the next day, I guess, and said, what's going on? What's going on? So she wrote, news team, thank you for the notes and texts. I apologize for not reaching out earlier. I learned on Saturday that Bari Weiss spiked our story inside CCOT, which was supposed to air tonight. We, Ori and I, asked for a call to discuss her decision. She did not afford us that courtesy / opportunity. Whew. That's what's sort of like, that's honestly the most shocking thing about it. That she's like, I don't need to give you a reason at all for spiking this story that we have been advertising and it clearly has been set up to go. I mean, let's be clear what happened here. Someone in the White House saw that they were going to run with the story, and Ellison's trying to take over WB. In fact, he just offered like a $40 billion guarantee. And they realized like, oh, this is going to be a problem for us.
Right. And her explanation of we need Stephen Miller to come on camera and comment about this, it literally just allows the Trump administration to hold the story and to kill it. Because if they never comment on it, if that's your standard, then the story doesn't come out. That's the purpose.
This is what
Sharon jumping
Alfonsi. No, but that's what she wrote. We requested responses to questions or interviews with DHS, the White House, and the State Department. Government silence is a statement, not a veto.
Yep.
Their refusal to be interviewed is a tactical maneuver designed to kill the story. If the administration's refusal to participate becomes a valid reason to spike a story, we have effectively handed them a kill switch for any reporting they find inconvenient. If the standard for airing a story becomes, quote, the government must agree to be interviewed, then the government effectively gains control over the 60 Minutes broadcast. We go from an investigative powerhouse to a stenographer for the state. These men risked their lives to speak with us. We have a moral and professional obligation to the sources who entrusted us with their stories. Abandoning them now is a betrayal of the most basic tenet of journalism, giving voice to the voiceless. She goes on to compare this to, what was the name of that movie they made about this, actually?
The Pacino one.
No, not Pacino. It was the guy, the Australian guy. The guy who was in oh, come on. He's the Australian action guy.
Crocodile Dundee?
No, not Crocodile Dundee. He was in
Russell Crowe?
Russell Crowe.
I don't know what movie you're talking about.
The one about this.
Okay.
CBS spiked the Jeffrey Wiggin interview due to legal concerns, nearly destroying the credibility of this broadcast. It took years to recover from that low point. By pulling this story to shield an administration, we're repeating that history, but for political optics rather than legal ones. That was the one about the Insider.
The Insider.
I was right.
Okay, I've never seen it.
Pacino.
No, it's not Pacino.
I
Maybe he was also in the film.
Yeah,
but he wasn't the Insider.
Okay. Yeah,
it was
right.
Russell Crowe.
Crowe was the insider. Yeah, Pacino was the 60 Minutes journalist.
Okay, thank you. Pacino was over the hill at that point. It was all Russell Crowe. We're getting sidetracked. We've been promoting the she wrote, and I should say
we are getting sidetracked.
Yes, I am getting sidetracked. I got this. The full letter was posted by Yashar Ali. We have been promoting this story on social media for days. Our viewers are expecting it. When it fails to air without credible explanation, the public will correctly identify this as corporate censorship. We are trading 50 years of gold standard reputation for a single week of political quiet. I care too much about this broadcast to watch it be dismantled without a fight. I mean, of course, it's Ellison. I mean, look, there's two things that are going on here. One is Bari Weiss desperately wants to be seen as an adult by these right-wingers. That has always been her thing. She's had two things. One started when she was at Columbia trying to get Palestinian professors fired because they were Palestinians. So it's her racism and her Zionist bigotry. That's one thing that she has. And then the other is she so desperately wants to be embraced by the right. That's why although she's a woman married to another woman. She's
Jewish. They have issues with that now.
She famously addressed a Republican caucus or a conservative group and said, look, I know you guys don't agree with why I'm here, but we all can agree that we want our taxes cut. And she is the one who introduced the world to the IDW, that secret cabal of brilliant thinkers like Dave Rubin and the Weinstein brothers and Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris, who were not able to get any publicity whatsoever or any exposure to the public.
Helped so many lost men find their way with that shout out.
So this is a twofer. I mean, she has this job because she knows that she's Ellison's lapdog. And they have aligned interests. Ellison wants the Trump administration to okay his takeover of Warner Brothers, and they don't want to upset the president. But then they have this conflict that they have a major news organization that's supposed to report on the president.
Right. I mean, I can't imagine what the rest of that newsroom is thinking right now. Like, we're already...
I should have resigned. Like, Dickerson did get out, by the way. He threw to the Bari Weiss thing, but he's out now, yeah.
She is alienating really quickly basically anybody with self-respect that works at CBS News.
Oh, yeah, it's over.
Without a doubt. But the thing is that it's going to be hard for them to dislodge, because I don't think at the end of the day they care.
Right.
You don't care. This is not like, she has no experience in doing this. And
she comes from the opinion pages.
I don't think Ellison at the end of the day cares about the news division except for it to carry one message and one message only. And so I don't really, like, at most news organizations, alienating all of the reporters and journalists and, writers would be a problem. I don't know if it's going to be a problem at CBS, because I think they're perfectly willing to say goodbye. Well, and we don't care if you give us a degraded product, because we have our people writing the, the pro-Israeli stuff and the pro-administration stuff. So we don't really care.
But I just wonder, like, they bought the Free Press for what, $150 million? It was wildly overvalued. She has value, I guess, but when does she have, like, when is it more valuable to have a faceless person who is the bulwark against, the crazy leftists that care about the genocide in Gaza and, believe that diversity is actually something we should engender? Like, that when does her value go away, when you could just replace that with a similar person with similar ideology who isn't this, desperate, cloying, publicly embarrassing, and expensive. But I guess the die's already cast.
They have so much money, who cares?
I mean, it's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, because it speaks to how stupid you can be and still be a billionaire.
Yes.
Like, that type of money engenders stupidity. Yeah. And I'll tell you why. I mean, it doesn't mean that, like, the guy's not capable of being smart in one specific area. But that kind of money and power makes you think that you're a genius. Yeah. And then you start to, like, apply your genius to areas where you do not have any understanding, any experience, any insight. And so the first charlatan who comes along, maybe the second, who comes along and is good at selling themselves as opposed to actually knowing what they're doing. I saw this at Air America all the time. You had people with money and they had no idea about the business at all. They just were attracted to the person with the nicest watch who came through the door and sold them a thing. But that person was just good at selling themselves.
But that's her talent. That's always been her talent, is the ability to flatter the sensibilities of right-wing men, particularly if they're Zionists and particularly if they're conservative and wealthy. And she's sold them a whole bill of goods that she's able to carve out this new center that is going to make sure that the lines of acceptable debate basically include anybody or exclude anybody that is going to change anything. And the Ellisons are some of the most powerful Zionist donors in the world. I don't think that we can get around that. And this is very much motivating it.
David Ellison said he hired Weiss to bring CBS, quote, news that reflects reality and journalism that, quote, doesn't seek to demonize but to understand. And nobody believes that. Nobody in this industry believes that, but they have to act like it's true because he's got the money.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if people are maybe sort of half like pretending like it's true. But the funny thing is like, the question is this guy going to realize he's not? I mean, I don't want to spoiler alert, but he is going to be faced with the question of, like, do I realize that maybe my sense of what reality is not actually reality? Maybe Bari Weiss's sense of reality, that the country is hungry to hear from Erica Kirk, and I can't remember her name, and find out what's, like, in her heart, and to promote her book. I mean, no, I mean, like, even with all the sort of, like, conspiracy around it, even with, like, the reality TV show about it, like, no, people don't care.
It's supposed to be a little more subtle when you manufacture consent, I feel like it's just been
Brute force.
It's just so obvious.
We're gonna buy CNN. I mean, if you did this when The Insider came out, like a billionaire just bought CBS and said, "Do this," everyone would be like, "What?" And that's exactly what's happening now, except they're trying it anyway.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about. We got a little bit of time here. Well, we could also do a freebie Monday, huh? Oh yeah, let's do that quickly. I want to just, without being a little bit too self-congratulatory, congratulatory.
Well, you stepped on it, so that should humble you a little bit.
A little bit. Pronunciation has never been my forte. But I was on CNN about a month ago, almost to the day, I guess. And driving over, I was hearing the press conference, or watching it actually on my phone, the press conference between Donald Trump and Zoran Mamdani. And I was amazed at this segment here. Oh, and we should say, I didn't realize it at the time, but it was Ryan Grimm, what's her name?
Emily Jashinsky.
Emily Jashinsky, who asked this question in the White House.
President, Republican Elise Stefanik has campaigned multiple times by calling Zoran Mamdani a jihadist. Do you think you're standing next to a jihadist right now in the Oval Office?
No, I don't, but she's out there campaigning, and, you say things sometimes in a campaign.
Isn't that sort of
She's a very capable person, but you really have to ask her about that. But I don't particularly. I think I met with I met with a man who's a very rational person. I met with a man who really wants to see New York be great again, and I can say again, because New York was great. When I came down to Washington initially.
All right, we don't need to hear him wax poetic about the times where he was committing statutory rape. But this was my reaction. Literally, I don't know. We were on set. This is taped on a Friday night. It aired on a Saturday. But I was just amazed.
Oh yeah.
And my first reaction was the second one was this. But Mamdani, in an hour, was able to essentially blow up the idea of demonizing democratic socialists. So Elise Stefanik is now lost in the middle of the ocean without any tether. Even people like, Chuck Schumer, even people within the Democratic establishment. All of that is true, but Elise Stefanik now has acknowledged that she has been lost at sea for the past month, and has set up a flare saying that she's going to drop out of the gubernatorial primary on the Republican side. This guy Blakeman from Long Island doesn't seem to have any chance whatsoever. And she has now said she is not going to run for re-election, and she is going to just go into business.
Yeah. So just to recap the last few years of her career, just because it makes
that you relish this.
I love it so much.
You hate her.
I hate her so much. I hate her so much. Sorry to editorialize, but God, there's something about, like if you're gonna be a rabid racist and a Zionist, treat yourself with a little bit less self-seriousness. And the way that she was so gleeful about going after, it was Claudine Gay and the other college presidents who for not being brutal enough to the voices and the students on their campus who were trying to protest the genocide. The rabid nature of Elise Stefanik's McCarthyite Zionist hearings just really, really got under my skin, and I think a lot of people should go back in the record and watch some of those hysterical hearings. She was going to ride this, in her view, to the a strong gubernatorial run, and that included racist attacks on Zohran Mamdani that Jasinski asked Trump about the jihadist stuff. This was going to be her whole campaign strategy. So I relish, one, that she had to withdraw from the UN because they were worried about their House margins, because Trump was so stupid when he and ketamined out Elon Musk were at Mar-a-Lago doing cabinet appointments based on like fan fiction, and many of them got through, like Tulsi Gabbard and RFK. But she didn't, because he jeopardized their House margins by trying to put her in office. So she had to go back to her district. She had already gotten her fancy apartment. She'd already gotten her nice little clothes. She thought she was going to be dining in New York and getting to make this her career. She goes back to her district upstate. They hate her. They call her out for never doing town halls. She's like, oh, God, all right, well, at least I'll run for governor. And then Trump destroys her again. This is what he's like. The only thing he's good for is going after other Republicans. We played that clip the other day of him going after Jeb Bush, and that's when Trump is at his finest and when I appreciate him the most.
And the thing about Stefanik that is the most odious in my mind is that all of this is cynical. I don't think she believes anything.
Yeah.
She came into office as an anti-Trumper.
That's the other thing.
And she came in as like the sort of like old school Jeb Bush Republican from upstate New York, and then just basically stuck her finger up in the air and was like, whoa, I didn't realize which way the winds are blowing. And I mean, I wonder on some level if a lot of this throwing her under the bus is a function of them going like, she's not real. I mean, we don't know who she is, but she's never who she says she is.
Well, if she was hotter, maybe Trump would be on board with it.
The problem is, I want our person at the. She's a 5,
yeah, not a central
I
casting.
don't know.
Let's get at least an 8.
But the other thing is, the other part of that happened out of that moment with Trump is you don't hear. I mean, we were told what we were going to hear if Mamdani got elected, and this is certainly what Jeffries was afraid of, supposedly. We were told that every Republican across the country was going to be running against Zohran Mamdani.
Yep.
That this is the party of Zohran Mamdani. This is the party of the socialist communist. Like, you haven't heard a word about it.
No,
you have not heard.
You've seen polling. AOC and Zohran, in terms of like popularity across the country, they still have time to catch up with name recognition, but they are popular politicians. I mean, Bernie Sanders is a very popular politician too. So I don't know how long the Democrats can ignore these numbers, but it doesn't have the salience that it should, because Trump, even in his addled state, still has a bit of a sixth sense about some of this stuff. And like when someone's authentically popular, he sensed it with Bernie back in the day when he co-opted some of his messaging.
He didn't have to go so.
He did, but that's because Zoran's charming and flattered him, and we know the theory about that.
Yes,
we know that he mentioned he won 1 in every 10 Trump voters. He knows he I'm sure used that to his advantage.
He said the reports are that he said that like the people in my district that voted for you, like there's a lot of people that voted for me that voted for you.
Oh yeah, and I went to a place where your dad got his shoes shined or whatever it was. I mean,
so cheap, but easy.
But it's so disturbing.
I know
that's like the politics of the country are going to turn on how like 3 minutes of flattery of some moron who's in charge of essentially our the nuclear codes. Like, you can't. I don't care where you are. You know, you're in Texas, you're in Iowa, you're in Indiana. You can't run against your opponent as being the party of Zohran, because the opponent, the Democrat, is just going to go like, Donald Trump said this guy actually just wants to make things better for Americans. If that's what he's accusing me of, that's exactly what I'm doing. And if you also look at what Mamdani has done, and I didn't want to go, talk more about Mamdani, but every poll now you see, it's affordability is the question. The word affordability is everywhere now.
Yep.
In the same way that Bernie had this impact on wealth disparity and money in politics, affordability is now the watchword, despite the literally hundreds of millions of dollars that were spent over the past 6 months to make abundance the word. And now abundance was just a word. That's the problem. It was just a word, and different things were sort of crammed in there. If you've read the book, which I did, incidentally, you would see like, oh my God, this is just like a hodgepodge of like I've had stews that were more, like sort of like coherent and cohesive and homogenous than what's in that book. And the affordability is an extension of economic populism, period, end of story. It is affordability basically says, how do we make this country more livable for a greater amount of people? It is not, we're trying to have see how much one person can amass. Right. It is about the quality of life of working people, of the broad base of people in the country.
And the racism that they rely on becomes less salient in the same way in 2008 that the racism against Obama was less salient because he was the candidate that was one speaking against the war, but also as the economy began to fall apart, offering something different. And Trump is speedrunning his way into a really early lame duck period. And the Republicans are, I guess, in general. So I just think running on Zoran and using racism against him for being Muslim, when you contrast that with people's material conditions, it's just not going to have the same weight. So I love to see that fail for her epically.
All right, let's get to the TPUSA, and then we're going to take a quick break, but maybe we'll do a freebie Friday. I mean, a freebie Monday. Why not? It's the Christmas season.
Yep.
Although Hanukkah's over, so maybe I shouldn't
be giving any more.
Yeah.
You're we've given enough.
So TPUSA, well, it really started Thursday night with Ben Shapiro, right?
Yeah, do you want to start there?
Yeah, let's start. Let's sort of try and go in some type of thing, because this is there. TPUSA's America First, or whatever the hell they call it, America
Fest.
America Fest.
How could you get that wrong?
America Fest. Got more attention this year because they invited, everybody got invited. And of course, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And everybody wanted to see what Erica Kirk was going to wear.
And spoiler alerts, lots of sequins.
Lots of sequins. Actually, let's play that. This was very moving. When Erica Kirk came out and took the stage, did we get that video of the recreation of the, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes. Well, we didn't have the video, but they recreated.
Oh, no, there is a video of it.
Well, I know. I mean, on the sound sheet. But...
Oh, okay. We should find that.
Okay.
Because that, I thought I had put in, that is pretty...
Of the Kirk death site.
Yes.
Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
Yes.
That's a normal thing.
Well, find that. And then, but just to give you a sense of of how I don't know. I guess I don't know how really to describe this. But listen, and again, I'm not judging the way that people mourn.
Mm-hmm.
When my great uncle passed away, Saul, who I named my son after, we celebrated. We celebrated because he had lived 104 years, and that was a very, but here is Erica Kirk. And this is the way that she was introduced to TPUSA. And, life is for the living, is what I say.
For those on the podcast, the amount of pyrotechnics seems like a fire hazard.
I'm genuinely concerned. Yeah, we're going to be...
that's too much. How is that close to people?
It could be just lights.
Oh,
I don't think
God.
Actually...
No, those are...
Maybe they do have a new type of lighting.
I think that can't be real sparks.
Either way, I mean, that is what they, you see how they are obsessed with like the Christian nationalism thing, and they're really, really leaning into that. That looks like a megachurch. And everything is like in the fashion of a megachurch, and like even the way that they're martyring Charlie Kirk is like the template is how Christ is spoken about. It's just the same things that are motivating the Republican Party for my whole lifetime.
And here is this is Charlie Kirk's widow, Erica Kirk, endorsed Vance for 2028. And one of the things that they had at the TPUSA America Fest conference was a recreation of the site where Charlie Kirk was assassinated. And let's listen to this.
And you can see from behind me, this is a recreation of the tent where Charlie Kirk lost his life at Utah University in September, and people are taking selfies with it.
It's like the cross.
I mean, this is...
Right?
Yeah. I saw evangelical churches doing AI Charlie Kirk stuff in the month after he passed. Detached from reality entirely.
This is odd. I think that's odd.
Yeah, I think that's objectively odd.
I think it's really odd that you would do that and take selfies.
I don't even...
I honestly, I don't have...
If the left did that, people would be like, they should be fired.
Yeah, they would literally prosecute you. Feels like
Al
desecration.
Franken, one of his books was inspired by Rush Limbaugh going on and on that there was a politicization of the senator from Minnesota, gosh, what's his name now?
Wellstone.
Wellstone. Of Paul Wellstone's funeral. The people were talking about politics there. Right. Paul Wellstone was probably like sort of like around like, in terms of like on the spectrum, sort of like to the left of Markey a little bit. I'm trying to place him, in the current environment. He wasn't Bernie Sanders left, but he was probably, the closest to Bernie Sanders.
Critical of the Iraq War, right?
Critical of the Iraq War, and the Farmer Party in Minnesota. And his funeral, people were like talking about his life. It was all political. And that was a huge scandal generated by Rush Limbaugh. And Franken wrote his book basically saying like, it wasn't that political, as opposed to go F yourself. Like, what are you talking about? And now it is amazing. It is just amazing. And all of this is all like, everything we're going to hear. If any of this happened at, I don't know, Netroots, or there's nothing equivalent on the left, because there isn't like a, this is like if this feels like the Oscars, it is, because this is an industry. They are all in the same industry, even if they have supposedly divergent ideologies. This is an industry event. There's no political ideology beyond our love of movies. That's what's going on here. This is just like you talk about identity politics. And that's why there's a fight here.
Yeah.
Because there are two competing, maybe three competing ideas of like identity, because the Republican Party for a moment thought they could expand the tent. And the problem is they can't expand the tent, because if they do, they're not the Republican Party. This is a homogenous, white, fundamentalist Christian party. And if you made the mistake of marrying a woman of Indian descent when you were younger, you got to go on a tour to essentially apologize for that. And that's what J.D. Vance does at this place.
Yeah.
And if you made the mistake of being a Jew, you're going to be tested. And if you made the mistake of being of Indian descent yourself, you are SOL, my man. That is it.
4 here, then? Is that what you want to do?
No, let's do. I just want to tack on this Freudian slip that Erica made.
And this explains sort of like, and this is an amazing, so much of like where her head's at is in this fight that she's engaged in for not, let's face it, just to be clear here, we're 2 months out from her husband suffering one of the most violent public deaths I think we've seen in decades in this country. And, again, different people grieve different ways, and she seems to have thrown herself into the business of TPUSA because that's where her mind is at. Now, do I think that she knows that she's engaged in a grift? No, I don't think they perceive it that way. I don't think they, it's like, it's like those,
the fish know they're in water.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was the story. The two young fish and the old fish comes by. How's the water, guys? And they're just like, what's water?
Right.
But here she is.
Despite the devastating loss of Charlie Kirk, my incredible husband at UVU, Caleb has persisted with the same gift. Grit. It has been a long day. Trust me, you're not a grifter, honey. It's all good.
You couldn't have scripted that better, though.
She did it so poorly that usually when you do something like that, you just move on and don't acknowledge it.
Oh, I think she had to acknowledge it.
Well, I thought she got it right on the correction. Gift. Okay. No, it was a third thing.
Great.
Okay, we're not getting anything out of this.
Yeah.
It's how his determination. It's not about material, incentive.
All right. Well, let's go to like let's get to Ben Shapiro second. Let's do first this juxtaposition I thought was fascinating.
4.
This is number 4. This is Vivek Ramaswamy, who is running for governor in Ohio in a primary, right?
Yep.
I mean, in a Republican primary.
But he's very wealthy, well-funded. However, there have been some issues recently with him at conservative events where you'll have questions from people like, hey, you're not a Christian and you're not white, so what gives?
It's funny that, yes, Ann Coulter, I mean,
Ann Coulter said she wouldn't vote for him for president because he's an Indian.
And
that's what she said. Her words.
Said it to his face
to
on
open
his
the interview.
podcast.
To open the interview, which, by the way, tactic of a shock jock like her.
And but the point being that Vivek is trying to sort of like get past the Republican barrier because they don't believe in identity politics. So if you have an identity that's different from theirs, they don't believe in it. But here is Vivek making his case. And it's sort of fascinating because this was like, he did this like Thursday or Friday night.
Saturday night.
He did it Saturday night. Okay.
Yep. And then Vance spoke the next night.
Okay. Vance spoke the next night. Now, prior to this, you had Bannon, Shapiro, what's her face?
Megyn Kelly.
Megyn Kelly, all throwing attacks at each other. And so Vivek comes in and he's the unifier. And he's going to unify everybody except for exclude one person. Here he is.
Believe, and you will forgive me for giving you an exact quote from our online commentator, Nick Fuentes. If you believe that Hitler was pretty fucking cool, you have no place in the future of the conservative movement. You can debate foreign aid to Israel all you want. That's fine. That's fair. But you have no place with that level of hatred. You can debate the right resolution to the Russia-Ukraine war, but if you believe Joseph Stalin is someone to look up to, you have no place in the future of the conservative movement. If you call Usha Vance, the second lady of the United States of America, a cheat, you have no place in the future of the conservative movement. And if you can't say those things without stuttering, then you have no place as a leader at any level in the conservative movement either. Certainly not in my state of Ohio.
Okay. So let's just sum up here what he said. You need to, if you're a leader, full-throated, no hesitation, exclude Nick Fuentes and people like Nick Fuentes from the Republican Party. And if you can't say that, first of all, he's just saying it definitively. These people are not conservatives. They must be excluded. Period. End of story. And if you can't say that loud and proud, then you're a weak leader.
Mm-hmm. If you can't say that calling the second lady of the United States that kind of slur is offensive, then you have no place in the conservative movement.
But J.D. Vance, the guy actually married.
Oh, right.
To who Nick Fuentes calls a cheat. Will he stand up for her against Nick Fuentes? Let's see. Will he say that this has a place in his movement?
Which Erica Kirk just endorsed him for president. He's supposed to be taking the TPUSA mantle with him. I'd imagine he's representative of the movement they're talking about.
You lead an incredible movement at Turning Point, and I will fight alongside you and President Trump and every patriot in this room to defend the country that we so dearly love. And when I say that I'm going to fight alongside of you, I mean all of you, each and every one. President Trump did not build the greatest coalition in politics by running his supporters through endless, self-defeating purity tests. He says, make America great again because every American is invited.
Pause it. I seem to remember he literally invited Nick Fuentes to have dinner with him.
Trump did. Yep.
Every American.
Every American.
He just thought that Kanye, by the way, having dinner with just Kanye, who was praising Hitler at the time, also quite problematic, but he just thought Kanye brought like a buddy with him.
We don't care if you're white or black, rich or poor, young or old, rural or urban, controversial or a little bit boring or somewhere in between. People of every faith come to our banner because they know that the America First movement will make their lives better, and they also know that the Democrats don't care about anything other than maybe transing their kids.
Okay. Aside from the fact that they don't care who you are, as long as you're not trans and or a Democrat.
Republicans saying trans in your kids is like Urkel saying, did I do that at this point? They just pedal to it when they need to.
But the bottom line is there is J.D. Vance willing to say, because this is like he is saying the opposite of what Vivek said. And Vivek said it is not, you are not part of the conservative movement if you are Nick Fuentes and believe all these things he said.
And say this about J.D. Vance's own wife. This is, he lectures.
And J.D. Vance is saying,
yeah.
And again, this is a guy who's like, I think, was it in this speech where he's saying like, he says later in this speech, we'll play it, about not being a coward. This is a guy who said that Donald Trump was a fascist until he had to cower to Donald Trump. And here he is cowering to Nick Fuentes and the Groyper movement. There is no other way to describe what J.D. Vance just said at TPUSA, other than, particularly, he knew what Vivek said. Incidentally, Ohio, right? Vivek is running for governor in Ohio, the state that J.D. Vance was a senator from.
Yep.
And Vivek says none of this has no place in a place like Ohio. That was a direct challenge to J.D. Vance. And J.D. Vance said,
JK,
I'm not going to say, I'm not going to kick Nick Fuentes out of this party.
But that's why he mentioned Usha Vance in that same breath, is because he was trying to get an assist. And he's like, hey, look, dude, you love your wife, right? Right?
And just to contrast with the first night, Ben Shapiro, we'll get into it probably later, but Ben Shapiro mentioned Bannon and Carlson, and they responded to him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you have time to change your speech.
Oh, no, yeah. He knew. I mean, without a doubt, he was aware of this. And let's make this other thing clear. J.D. Vance, when he says he will not go after Nick Fuentes to protect his wife, who Nick Fuentes called a Jeet. J.D. Vance went on some other podcast, I think it was Unheard, and said, like, I'm not going to, they can suck my ass, Nick Fuentes and Jen Psaki. Because Jen Psaki was on I've Had It and said, Usha Vance is like being held hostage. I want to tell her right now, we're here for you. He has to equate these two because he's so afraid of Nick Fuentes.
Mm-hmm.
This is, if you want the definition of a coward, if you want to see someone who is not going to fight for you, if it costs him a nickel, it is J.D. Vance. J.D. Vance is making that explicitly clear. Now, I don't think it's coming out to this audience right away, but at one point they're going to realize if there is an element of the Republican Party that does not want to associate with an out-and-out fascist like Nick Fuentes, an out-and-out Nazi like Nick Fuentes, they're going to realize that J.D. Vance is not willing to stand up to him, is not willing to put it on the line and fight against him. There is a moral cowardice. And I say moral only because that is what their whole sort of like ecosystem is built around. Some sense of morality that is associated. It shifts.
Yeah.
It shifts.
Right.
You know, it's like it's no purity test is his new morality. Vivek has a different one. Don't call the vice president's wife a Jeet. Don't be blatantly racist. Don't be blatantly anti-Semitic. It all just depends on, whatever their brand is at any given point, what their morality supposedly is.
It's funny him saying black and white, like he's trying to say as if he's having an open door policy, but then has to follow it up with controversial, which everyone knows means Nick Fuentes.
Right,
and boring.
Of course. Where does that controversy from? I mean, give me a break. And I think here's the problem. He can't sell this. He can't sell it. He's going to bathe himself in the flag. He's going to bathe himself in the cross, but I don't think he can sell it. I just think that there is just too much inherent contradiction. If you cannot, all you're going to exclude is Democrats who want to trans their kids. That's the distinction. The Democrats, because they want to trans your kids. We stand with Nazis because the Democrats want to trans their kids. That's their politics? Give me a break. Let's go to Ben Shapiro, I guess, right?
Sure. We have a little more JD if you want.
Well, we'll get to JD because he comes in a little bit later, I guess, on this.
Yeah.
But here is Ben Shapiro at the beginning of the Turning Points USA conference. He's on Thursday night.
Yep. Opener.
He's the opener. Incidentally, I think they did this because they wanted the opportunity to strike back at him and not give him the last word.
Right.
It feels like, and you hear this a lot now, like that Shapiro is trying to buy his way in. Like we heard this first from Milo Yiannopoulos a year ago on Tim Pool's show, not the most recent one, that Shapiro bought a lot of his views.
Yep.
And in his words, faked it till he made it.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that happens a lot on the right. And then just last week, I got an email. I don't know if this is an experience, but from a listener, a viewer on YouTube who said, I watched the show Weird Times at night on the weekends, and there's an ad from Shapiro, which we've had, people run ads against our show all the time. Tim Pool does that. But apparently it's a 30 or 45-minute ad in the middle of our show.
You have to skip after like a minute or something?
I think so, but it would run for 30 minutes.
Unless, right.
And it would buy, like, they're literally inserting their show in the middle of ours, which
I wonder if they count.
I hope they pay a lot of money. I mean, that probably helps us, but I bet you they count that as a view. Yeah. If it goes past like 2 minutes or something, I got to look into that. But I suspect that's what's going on. There's a full-on panic over there.
And Jose, we talk about that creator a lot. Their channel did a deep dive into his engagement and his views, and just showing that it looks like there's a significant gap in between what you would expect of an engagement for his view count to be when you compare it also to other, just to be fair, conservative. Here it is, the video, the sharp fall of Ben Shapiro. Maybe there's a graphic at one point, if you can scroll your cursor over it, Matt, towards the end about his views. I think that's closer to where it is. But people can check out the video. We don't need to find it in real time. Either way, it appears like, his views are down. His engagement is down compared to other conservatives of similar view count. And that would bolster the claim that perhaps he's buying views, but you can't, always match that to engagement.
But here is Shapiro starting off the TPUSA a cavalcade.
Business colleagues. But even if it were true that other public figures were our best friends, our very best friends, that does not relieve us of our duty to speak out of principle and not to cover up evil or shy away from addressing it out of friendship. So no, Tucker Carlson, it is not an excuse to go silent on Candace's targeting of TPUSA. Or to mirror her bullshit lines of questioning because you love Candace personally. The same holds true of Megyn Kelly, a person I consider a friend, characterizing Candace as a young mother and thus shying away from condemning her actions or fibbing about them. That is a non-starter. Meghan Markle is a young mother. Ilhan Omar is a young mother. That doesn't matter. And when Megyn said this week, quote, my goal and my job.
I just love the idea, and he'll do this later with a slur, where he knows he has to like throw these things out there as he's being critical of these popular right-wing figures, and he's like, two black women that you hate for
Meghan Markle.
One, the princess or whatever she is, and this politician. It makes no sense, but
what you're focused on is stupid if you care about Meghan Markle, but that's their base.
You know who does is Candace Owens. Candace Owens is frequently attacking Meghan Markle, and like, because she does the right-wing tabloid stuff, and so that's what he's trying to do there, and it's really inauthentic.
What's also fascinating to me is that we would not know the name Candace Owens at this point were it not for the Daily Wire, which platformed her and put a lot of money behind her conspiracy theorizing and her Hitler love. I mean, we talked about this years and years ago and really chalked it up to her just being an idiot, which may have been our failure to realize that she's an out-and-out Hitler lover. But she talked about what was Hitler's problem? He was too ambitious outside of his country.
He didn't just try to make Germany great. He like got into other people's business.
Right. Yeah. And lots of, I think some German Jews might have something to say about that.
That's quite possible. But here is Ben Shapiro, who's incidentally, Matt Walsh, also one of the people that he platforms on his network, literally the other day was pushing a conspiracy theory about about a Palestinian student at Brown, or at least that there was some nefarious thing going on with the local authorities, that they were protecting somebody. His whole channel has been a disseminator of conspiracy theory. That is their entire the no-go parts of London. I mean, his whole brand was built upon. It was just like
climate change.
Yes, I mean,
but now there's two things happening. There's that Candace Owens was lapping them in views and was doing better than them, and two, though, that now she's not just anti-Semitic. She's trafficking in criticism of Israel.
Yeah.
And that is what it's just so cynical when you see how obvious her hatred of Jewish people was, even when she was at the Daily Wire. Then as soon as that happens, he turns. And so let's not laud Ben Shapiro as a man of honor here.
True of Megyn Kelly, a person I consider a friend, characterizing Candace as a young mother and thus shying away from condemning her actions or fibbing about them. That is a non-starter. Meghan Markle is a young mother. Ilhan Omar is a young mother. That doesn't matter. And when Megyn said this week, quote, "My goal and my job here is to try to understand, yes, where Candace is coming from on this," and says she sees no purpose in inserting herself, quote, into this on one side, that is a moral and logical absurdity. There is only one moral side here, Erica Kirk's side.
It's funny how they all are rushing to be on Erica Kirk's side. How can they all be on the Erica Kirk side and no one's on the other side?
Except maybe Tucker Carlson, right? And I guess Steve Bannon, who he goes after here.
Well, let's hear Shapiro say Steve Bannon.
Fourth, because we have a duty to truth, we also have a duty to provide you with evidence of the claims that we make. Emotive accusations, conspiracy theories, and just guessing questions, that's lazy and stupid and misleading. None of them are a substitute for truth. None of them are a substitute for evidence. So, when Candace Owens says, "I don't know, but I know," that is retarded, and we are all more retarded for having heard it.
It's so pathetic.
Pause it. Listen, I know that I was hung up by my underwear on the school locker when I was in junior high multiple times every day. But look at me now. I can use the R word multiple times. Incidentally, the idea that Candace Owens just started saying no when she was off the Daily Wire is not true.
I like he's really masking the fact that he's a giant dork by using that slur against people with disabilities. Like, I'm a cool kid, guys. I know I just lectured you about facts and logic and truth and evidence, but I'm one of you. See, I have a leather jacket. Yeah, and also the audience is dumb enough to lap that crap up.
Exactly. That's why like comedians do it too. So there's people who honk for it.
And we are all more retarded for having heard it.
Leaning your head back in ecstasy.
Pause it. Also, I just gotta say, they're not applauding him going after Candace.
Yeah.
They are literally only applauding that he used that word. Not even that. Like, they're just excited to hear that word in public. This is how demented and small-minded and puny-brained they are. Even as they're being told, we need logic, we need facts, we need soundness of argument. The one thing they applaud for is just the most puerile and juvenile thing.
Remember that banker that was quoted, I forget, early on in the Trump presidency about how
FT.
Yeah, in FT about how excited they were that Trump was in office because they could say the R word again. Like, why is Trump their 3-time nominee of the Republican Party? You can see why in that audience, which is that he presents a level of like catharsis and someone who they can live vicariously through, who says all of the offensive things about the people that they hate and look down upon that they cannot say in public life.
Center Spiral saying no one's pointed out that Shapiro's paraphrasing a line from Billy Madison there. It's an Adam Sandler movie, just pure theft, whatever.
Okay.
When Steve Bannon, for example, accuses his foreign policy opponents of loyalty to a foreign country, he's not actually making an argument based in evidence. He's simply maligning people that he disagrees with. which is indeed par for the course from a man who was once a PR flack for Jeffrey Epstein. Check the record.
Check the record.
Yeah, that was basically it.
Dude, you're a PR flack for a close confidant of Jeffrey Epstein's. His name is Donald Trump.
Right.
You're a PR flack for a guy who, were it not for the United States sanctioning the International Criminal Court, would be on trial at The Hague right now.
Yeah.
You're literally a PR flack for a war criminal.
There's exactly right. There's no the Bannon connections with Epstein are really interesting, I think. Although, you can dig into it and show that wasn't most of the contact happening in Trump's lead up to the election, which you could probably see that Steve Bannon is attempting maybe to run interference for some of the things we know now, that like Trump and Epstein were close friends during the 90s, for example, among other accusations.
Keep it quiet, Steve.
What Ben can't argue himself out of is that Bannon's America First kind of isolationism is much more where the young Republicans are than where he is at with his rabid Zionism and anti-Palestinian racism and support for the genocide. And what Bannon advocates for here, yes, it's like a Christian nationalist vision. And it's much more where TPUSA is than what Ben Shapiro is saying in terms of where the heart of the party is for the young people they're trying to covet or trying to bring in right now.
And I'll just say, speaking of logic, because I know Ben really likes it, he did a fallacy there, ad hominem. It is true that Bannon is associated with Jeffrey Epstein and them taking selfies together like 8 years ago or 5 years or so ago, whatever it was. But that doesn't mean that Ben Shapiro isn't distorting our politics towards Israel's purposes more than he should. Like, that's a fair assessment to make. Those are two separate claims.
Exactly. Bannon responded, I guess this was the next night or the night after.
At least afterwards.
Yeah, the next night. This was Steve Bannon responding to Ben Shapiro.
Shapiro is like a cancer, and that cancer spreads. It's a cancer, and it metastasizes. He tried to take over Breitbart, and I ran him out of there. He tried to take over David Horowitz's, who was his mentor. Don't ask me. Ask the guys associated with David Horowitz what he did there. He tried to take that over. And mark my word, he will make a move on Turning Point because he's always been envious of Charlie Kirk.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing. The make a move on Turning Point, basically trying to say that he has the financial resources and the donors that got Daily Wire off the ground to fold TPUSA in. But that was also like, it's just so bizarre. When Ben Shapiro was speaking, I wrote this down. He said on Candace's targeting of TPUSA, that people are silent about that, as if that's the problem there for him. That she's targeting TPUSA. Dude, you're not upset about that. You're upset that her conspiracism, that you gave birth to her and now she's getting 4 million views on that stream, and that she's criticizing Israel. It's not about TPUSA. It's so weird.
Well, that's what they're trying to use.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all literally trying to use Erica Kirk and TPUSA as a shield.
A human shield.
Exactly.
The widow, yeah.
Exactly. Here is Megyn Kelly. So Shapiro fires at Steve Bannon and Megyn Kelly and Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson. Bannon and Kelly are at the thing. Kelly is sitting down with avowed white nationalist Jack Posobiec, right?
Yep.
Is he an avowed white nationalist?
I mean, he does a lot of the sort of Groyper style signaling that I would use to condemn him as such.
And no word as to whether he's fired up Bumble on this trip or not. Maybe he doesn't need to anymore. But here is Megyn Kelly responding to Ben Shapiro. And it's interesting, like, how they were going back and forth. Supposedly Megyn Kelly sent Tim Pool stuff like, thank you for going after Candace Owens, because she doesn't have the courage to do it, according to Tim Pool, who's mad at Megyn Kelly. But here's Megyn Kelly now
Responding to Ben.
Responding to Ben Shapiro.
And recall that Ben Shapiro called them friends a day ago.
Well, I found it kind of funny that Ben thinks he has the power to decide who gets excommunicated from the conservative movement, which shows a willful blindness about his position in it. It reminded me a little of when the girl who was the head of our middle school chorus told me she was going to take all my friends away from me.
You remind me of a girl.
Listen.
You reminded me of a little girl.
First off, no, this is incredibly insightful, what she's saying. Maybe not necessarily insightful, but certainly incredibly telling. First off, we just saw Vivek Ramaswamy on Saturday night attempt to say who's in and out of the conservative movement based upon if you are calling J.D. Vance's wife Jeet and you're an out-and-out bigot and you loved Hitler. She doesn't address that.
Well, that happened the night after. We're back on Friday.
Okay, so fair enough.
Yeah.
But I doubt that she's going to go on her show and complain about that. The other thing is she's picked up on Ben Shapiro's, essentially, his status as Pope. He's always... he's usually been the Pope of the Jews, deciding who's a good Jew and who's a bad Jew, right? Like, I mean, he said, like, Bernie Sanders is not a good Jew because of whatever it is that Ben Shapiro deemed to be not Jew. Yes.
He had a Jew in name only.
Jews in name only.
Oh, my God. Gino.
But Megyn Kelly is also, I think, sort of like either being very insightful on purpose or accidentally, in that she's comparing all of what they're doing to junior high.
Yep.
Because as much as they talk about facts and not your feelings and ad hominem and using logic and they're just a bunch of like mental midgets who are in an industry. They are just trying to, like a bunch of lemonade stands, and they're just trying to out-lemonade each other. There has been, like, the amount of actual policy that has been, like they're talking about has been virtually nil.
It makes the Dr. Seuss era look like they were wonks.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. It's like, wait, what? Like, what are we talking about here? Is this about the supporting of Israel? Like, I haven't heard any even arguments about it one way or another.
But they submerge that because all of that is happening in boardrooms. Like the future of whatever TPUSA is being dictated by the donors that are behind it. And so they make the circus, the show, and they make it about their individual personalities or or you don't get to tell me what to say, where it's like, no, there's an internecine, to use your word, Sam, battle right now within the right-wing online media ecosystem, and they're all jockeying for position.
Which shows a willful blindness about his position in it. It reminded me a little of when the girl who was the head of our middle school chorus told me she was going to take all my friends away from me. Chorus?
Without hearing more of that story, I take that girl's side.
Oh, there's no doubt Megyn Kelly deserved it, but like, are you really are you really proudly saying this whole tiff I'm involved in? Because let's be clear. When Megyn Kelly says it reminds me of when that girl in chorus said she was going to take away my friends from me, what Megyn Kelly is thinking about what Megyn Kelly did to strike back and win that little 8th grade war or whatever it was.
She's thinking that little girl was me.
And no,
I'm joking.
She's thinking about she's not just indicting Shapiro. She's indicting herself.
Yeah.
A head cheerleader, maybe, but like, so I resent the whole thing. I object to the whole thing. Ben and I, he had the nerve to call me a friend right before he called me a despicable coward for not calling out the people he once called out. So he both wants to parent me and be my child. He wants to tell me what I have to do and who I have to say what to. And then when I don't, he and some of his friends want to act like utter victims because I won't do what they say. They need me. I have to be their daddy and step in to protect them. And I am not their daddy. And I resent that he thinks he's in a position to decide who must say what to whom and when. Thank you.
Guy, can you pause it? I'm sorry. She wasn't talking like this always, but notice how like it's all their insults to are based in hierarchy. Where one, I think know your place. She deliberately calls him a little girl, and then says that he wants me to be the father in the situation. I just want
the Freudian stuff is off the chain here.
But she's smart. Like as these personalities go on the right, she's on the smarter end. We can put Tim Pool and Dave Rubin at the bottom.
That's the point. She's now functioning like she did against that girl in chorus.
Exactly.
And by saying, like, you're not the head of the cheerleaders.
Yes.
You're the head of chorus.
Right.
You
and
can't get at me.
You're a little girl and I'm like the man and I'm in charge. I'm like your father. There's probably nothing more humiliating you could say to a male conservative influencer than you're a little girl and this woman is your daddy.
That she could say, Ben is bleeding out of all of his holes.
There you go. Right. But even female influencers put women in a lesser place and use that and she does that expertly.
Yes.
No, she's hyper aware of her gender and her place in it in conservative society.
Thank you. So I don't think we are friends anymore. I've been a very good friend to Ben. Nobody knew who the heck Ben Shapiro was when I started putting him on my shows on the Fox News channel, and I helped make him a star. And I've been very, very
amazing.
We just watched that friendship end, folks.
Check the Facebook status. It's over.
Somebody's going to get defriended on Instagram. No more following her on Pinterest.
These French.
Looks like you guys won't be vaping in the
Yeah, she is out of the MySpace top
unisex
8.
bathroom.
I love that for the entirety of when they were friends, that she was keeping in the back of her mind, like, I made you.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly.
So she made Ben, and then Ben made Candace.
Oh, well, she thinks she made me. I don't think that's true. I was already being called the whiz kids. What is it? The
Cool kids philosopher.
Cool kids philosopher.
Was that by Bari Weiss?
No,
who was that by?
No, that was ages ago.
Well, yeah, the Bari Weiss was the IDW guys, I guess.
But here is Megyn Kelly now calling out Bari Weiss.
Yes.
So it appears, I mean, Megyn Kelly is definitely walking a tightrope here, right? Like her audience, she wants some of that Candace Owens audience.
Mm-hmm.
But she also wants to stay in the good graces of like the more mainstream
Republicans.
World. Yes. So she's sort of walking this line. I mean,
and
she's been able to go back and forth over the years. Remember, like she was a villain to Donald Trump, and then she became a full-on Trumper. She was a full-on feminist when she left Fox because she was being sexually harassed. And then, was on
she got hired by
NBC,
the Today Show. Yeah.
And then when they realized that was a big fail, she attacked back to the right. I mean,
she's a little harsh for morning television. I don't know if they could have picked up on that.
The Santa's a white person angle, it was not one that played to the audience that was just in the dentist's office.
Yeah.
Everybody knows Santa's white, she said back in the day. Incidentally, I should just tell you, for those conservatives who are tuning in right now, Santa Claus is not real. He doesn't really exist. He's fictional regardless.
Yeah, and he's non-binary.
I mean, I've noticed there's no fly on that suit. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. You're going all the way around the world.
Yeah.
People with beards can be non-binary.
If it was as simple as just like going through the fly, you do it because you're on the move, right? I'm just saying. Go ahead. So here's Megyn Kelly calling out Bari Weiss now.
There was also some response where it seemed like that call was being co-signed by the new head of CBS News, Bari Weiss, and I wanted to know if you wanted to respond to that as well.
So it's a similar situation with Bari. None of this is about them calling me out for anything I've said or haven't said, or it's certainly not about Erica Kirk, as Ben tried to make it sound last night. It's about Israel. Those two are very ardent Israel activists, which is fine, but they don't get to dictate how the rest of us feel about Israel or what we do with respect to our friends and our friends' opinions on Israel. And I'll tell you, Bari Weiss wants to...
What is your opinion, Megyn?
Couch herself as Erica's protector, Erica's defender. She's retweeting the Ben speech, saying anybody who doesn't call out conspiracy theorists is a coward. Erica Kirk barely knows Bari Weiss. Bari doesn't know anything about Erica. Bari Weiss has never been to a turning point.
This is what is just so annoying. She approaches a substantive argument, like right there where she says Israel. And why I interjected there, she doesn't say what her opinion is. It's back to drama. You don't get to say what I have to say. But what do you have to say? And it's just amazing how they perform. It is like a play. And it's like a bad play. It's like a middle school play. And the audience eats it up, where it looks like political disagreement, but they're just fighting for money. I mean, I've never seen anything like it, because they don't even talk about the disagreement at hand.
And they all are trying to place themselves either as like closer to Erica. I mean, it's fascinating.
It reminds me of Bacon's Rebellion, a Virginian colonial rebellion, where both sides were saying, actually, I'm the one on the side of the king. You're not doing what the king would want.
Right.
And like Erica Kirk gave Bari Weiss the exclusive. She waited to address Candace Owens by name in that explicit interview. Like, if she doesn't know who Bari Weiss is, she has bad advisors. You're actually criticizing Erica Kirk by even making this sort of point. And also, but also Candace's thing about Erica is not about Israel. It's about lunacy, conspiracy theories. Like,
Candace's thing about Erica?
Yeah, about Turning Point USA.
Oh,
It's not really about Israel at all. It's about just
well, it started that.
There's elements.
It started
but, yeah.
there, but it really went on to like she just realized like, oh, this is good for me. This conspiracy theory stuff is good for me. Egypt and first it was Israel and then it was. I mean, by the time Candace Owens was like called to heel by Erica Kirk, and who knows what it was? Maybe she wasn't called to heel. Maybe she was like offered a sinecure, like you're cutting into our bottom line.
Yep.
Here's some we don't know what went on there, but whatever it is, she came out of there not really stopping with the conspiracy theorizing, but more with, hey, I was just joking about not donating to TPUSA.
Yeah,
keep giving them money. Keep giving them money because look, for all we know, and we don't. But for all we know, it could be one of those situations. Keep donating to TPUSA because now I get $1 for every. Now I get $1 for every 10 that gets in there or whatever it is.
At the very least, it's harder for her to engage in the level of conspiracism she has been about Emmanuel Macron's wife, who is in France and not an American citizen, based on my knowledge, versus say a bunch of really wealthy people who know Candace well within her own circles that could take action against her for certain arguments.
I mean, she's being sued by the Macrons.
She is
for defamation.
True, but
also I would say, like she's still like just going off on the conspiracies, and when she was called to that meeting, her conspiracies were leaning towards like some type of like cabal around Charlie Kirk in TPUSA.
On Friday, she came out with an interview with some guy that I'll say on the surface doesn't appear credible to me, but said he saw Erica and a TPUSA guy, I think, at a Air Force base. And recognized her eyes.
Well, they are something to behold.
So, yeah, more on that later.
But it is interesting that Kelly is trying to make this exclusively about Israel, not about the idea of just general conspiracy theories that Candace Owens is going. And she's trying to make it about like Bari Weiss and Shapiro are on one side with Israel. The funny part is not only is she attacking, Shapiro earlier, but Bari Weiss has got to be so depressed because Bari Weiss's like whole thing has been, I'm going to bring the conservatives into the CBS world, and that's not going to work. Like, you know, she's
like Dave Rubin.
toxic.
She's just Dave Rubin, but with like an Ivy League degree. I mean, she's also gay. She's also married to a woman.
She's smart. She's smarter than Dave Rubin, without a doubt. She's smarter than Dave Rubin, but she's not that much smarter.
Not that much.
And
like Megyn Kelly's smarter than both of them.
And the problem is that her aspirations are way out of line with what she can do.
Exactly.
Because you can certainly make a fake university down in Texas, and you can certainly have a good Substack by sort of being like the conservatives, you know, sort of liberal or whatever it is. But it ain't going to work at CBS News.
No.
She may never get fired because Ellison only has like, you know, maybe just has one agenda, but it's not going to work. She's not going to get the ratings that she wants.
She's announced a bunch of these talks like she did with Erica Kirk as if she's turning CBS into Jubilee. But the Erica Kirk one didn't even perform well.
No.
That one didn't perform well. Like
I am going to bet that whatever the slate is of those, that they will not all be aired. No. Good.
Couch herself as Erica's protector, Erica's defender. She's retweeting the Ben speech, saying anybody who doesn't call out conspiracy theorists is a coward. Erica Kirk barely knows Bari Weiss. Bari doesn't know anything about Erica. Bari Weiss has never been to a Turning Point event. Do you guys remember her here? Standing up for what we believe in when Charlie was alive? I don't remember her standing up for our principles. I don't remember her defending Charlie the many times he was called a racist or an anti-Semite. I really don't remember that at all. What I do remember is she had Erica Kirk come on one town hall in which Bari Weiss tried to play both super important VIP executive and super fabulous star anchor at her new network CBS. Pro tip, Bari, that's no way to win friends at your new organization, to try to steal all the hosting abilities of the on-air talent. So good luck with that. And what she did when she had Erica there was to have the nerve to bring on the man who asked the final question of Charlie right before he got shot.
Hunter Kozak.
To put Erica in the position of having to defend whether Trump uses hateful rhetoric. The nerve.
I'll just say.
I love that. I love that.
So the guy who asked the question of Erica Kirk, one of the people asked the question, said, will you criticize Trump for his hateful rhetoric, after she had said, we need to tone down the rhetoric? And Kirk said, basically, no, she wouldn't do that. But what's fascinating is that Megyn Kelly has clearly, like, this was part of her agenda.
Yep.
This wasn't like a question just comes up and I'm rambling off the top of my head. This is part of her agenda, going after Bari Weiss, which is sort of fascinating because, like Matt said, Erica Kirk chose to go on, basically gave her story to Bari Weiss in the most high-profile manner possible, and it underperformed for CBS, but it was still probably one of the biggest audience that Erica Kirk has had, certainly to deliver that entire message. And Megyn Kelly clearly has a problem and wants to alienate, or feels her audience has an issue with Bari Weiss, either because of Israel or maybe something else, as Megyn Kelly defends Candace Owens. Will you play this on the
but as you pull it up, I just want to say, she's basically, her accusation is that Bari Weiss didn't do a good job for you, Erica. Bari Weiss didn't set you up right. That's what she's saying publicly. Is that not the case? She's saying, oh, she brought you on. She brought on this guy and going to have to make you defend Trump's rhetoric. We all try to avoid criticizing Donald Trump. My God. And we don't want to step on or touch that third rail. And she put you in that position. How dare you? That's what she's implying, right? Yeah. And I did like the accurate critique, though, of Bari Weiss, that Bari is such a freaking narcissist that she had to put herself in that interview for no reason. Yeah. CBS has so many hosts that they could use, but Bari has to put herself as a central figure, which I feel like is, I've never seen anything like that with like the editor-in-chief of an organization or whatever her position
totally
is. Yeah.
accurate and legitimate critique, but a very weird one.
All aesthetic.
To make in that moment when she's making a critique about Shapiro and Weiss as sort of cops saying that you need to be on the side of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
It is oddly personal. Like, I mean, nobody in that crowd is following the newsroom dynamics of CBS. In fact, everyone in that crowd should love the fact that a conservative friendly, and that's what Bari Weiss is, you know, her ideology is definitely, at the very least, conservative friendly. She has built the careers of a lot of these people. Everybody in that audience should be happy about this.
Yeah.
I mean, she just platformed Erica Kirk in a way that obviously, you know, nobody cared, but there was an attempt to have her go mainstream. I mean, you would imagine that they would all be excited about that. But here, Megyn Kelly is also defending Candace Owens, not necessarily by name, but in the way that she has positioned herself. And Candace Owens now, because she no longer has TPUSA as her like sort of main target, but she needs to continue on.
Yep.
It's going to be tougher for her to tack back to Israel did this because she sort of like blew past that into its TPUSA. So now she's got to go on to something completely different, which is build off Ben Shapiro, the person. And in the same way that Megyn Kelly is building off Bari Weiss, the person, and extrapolate what is the quality of Ben Shapiro that is really problematic.
Yep.
And oddly enough, for Candace Owens, it turns out not his politics, not his support of Israel. It's the Jew thing.
I am done with it. This one is so fully off of the mother effing plantation. Truly, Ben Shapiro, fuck you and the midget horse that you rode in on. And I say that on behalf of the world. I know you're going to get applauded by Konstantin Kisin and Andrew Christ is King Clavin and all of the people, the men who have to keep applauding what you do like you're a 4-year-old to make you feel good. But the rest of the world can't stand you. You're obnoxious. You have absolutely no values that exist outside of the Talmud. You describe yourself as a Talmudic Jew.
All right, pause it. See, now, okay. So I was with her up until the point about the Talmud.
Is Andrew Clavin Jewish? I just want to check that she.
I don't think so.
I didn't think so.
No. But this is very similar to what Megyn Kelly just was about to do on some level. Like, go at them personally, which, again, I have no problem with in and of itself. But now extrapolating out the Jew part. Now, incidentally, where she's going with this Talmud is a complete lie. The book that she's referencing was written by a famous anti-Semite who passed on years and years ago. Not the Talmud itself. Look, the Talmud is no different than any other religious book where it's all talks about, like, you know, stoning women who are, you know, on their period, or, magic happening, or horrible stuff, without a doubt. But that's what she's just, so people can identify these tropes, because it's very scary that we're seeing this like complete inability for people to distinguish between someone who is an anti-Semite and someone who is anti-Zionist. Like, she is talking about the Talmud and I think the Kabbalah as well, and basically trying to insinuate that Jewish people, they don't just believe in the Old Testament, and we believe in the Old Testament and the New Testament, and so they're not like us. That's what she's implying. She's basically saying that Jewish people have these other secretive texts that are satanic. And that it's not even like subtle. This has been so much of her commentary for like months and months, if not years at this point. She's just run out. Like, she is worried that she's going to get sued into oblivion, and she's going after a bunch of really powerful people with these conspiracy theories. She got a little ahead of herself. So now she's got to just go to what the people really want to see in her core audience. And also, let me just say this too. If you go back and you listen to someone like Sam Harris's conversations about the Quran, this is the same playbook. I personally have a problem with all religious fundamentalism. I find it very problematic, particularly when that fundamentalism, defines your worldview. If you want to live in your own enclave and live that fundamentalism, fine, as far as I'm concerned. But you still need to, you're a citizen of a country and you have to follow civil laws, and your fundamentalism shouldn't dictate. But the way that these Islamophobes, anti-Semites, the way that they operate is they go into these texts and pull stuff out. You can pull the same things out of the Christian Bibles. Any fundamentalism is bad, but it's all like the secret stuff that is,
They secretly believe this.
Have you read the Quran?
Yeah.
What Sam Harris would say, like I have. Have you read the Hadith? Is that what it is? And sort of like the commentary associated with it. Like it's all the exact same strategy. Go ahead.
And I encourage other people at home to learn what is in that Talmud so that you know what Ben thinks of you, because he doesn't just hate me, he hates you too, white men. He hates all black people, okay? If he's following the rules of the Talmud, I mean, when I say hates, they think that we're animals, that they have a right to own us, that they have a right to make us worship them, that they have a right to lie to us,
Can you
that they have
also-
a
I'm
right
sorry.
to sue us.
Here's another, she is basically saying that Jewish people are responsible for chattel slavery. That's what she's implying.
Oh yeah, no, she has been explicit in that in other posts.
And you'll just be vigilant about this for the audience. This is about capitalism and colonialism, and in many and chattel slavery, which how many tens of millions of black people were stolen from Africa for capitalism, for chattel slavery. It was a Christian expansionist and capitalistic movement.
England
that brought
had
that
something
about.
called the Royal African Company.
Yes.
I mean, this is the problem with all this conversation is they try to make it about religion when it's actually about nationalism. But they're all insane nationalists, so they can't make that critique. And this is actually where anti-Semitism come from, is this Christian sort of lunacy.
Us and take everything that we have, that they have a right to deceive us, that they have a right to treat Charlie the way that he treated Charlie while he was alive, only to then try to defraud the population into thinking that he is somehow a part of his legacy, that he somehow cared about Charlie Kirk and cares to protect the people that are working at Turning Point USA. Goodbye, Ben. Goodbye. Question is, how much more money is Ben Shapiro going to spend to make people think that he's popular? How many more articles is his father going to write under a pen name, Hank Berrien of the Daily Wire, under the pen name Hank Berrien, as he wrote while Ben was at Breitbart, before he turned his back and betrayed them too, because that is his nature. He's one of these belly creatures, sliver on. The question is, how many more weeks and years do we have to keep pretending like Ben Shapiro is relevant? It's an open-ended question. Of course, what followed Ben Shapiro on stage is somebody who Charlie Kirk loved very much and who he fought for to the very end against the Jewish donors who were pressuring him, some of them because Ben Shapiro insisted that they do. That is Charlie Kirk's true legacy, and that is Charlie Kirk's true friend, just as I was and am and will continue to fight and ask questions about who killed Charlie Kirk. And to people that are at home, I implore you to wake up to these people who believe that they are contract lords. I challenge Black Americans to wake up to your true history, because your quarrel is not with white men, okay? Wake up to who publishes these books and keeps us warring with one another. Christians versus Christians, right? Christians versus Muslims. Wake up and learn the true history of slavery, because that wasn't exactly a white men sport, okay? Jewish people were the ones that were trading us. Jewish people were in control of the slave trade.
Pause it for a
Oh
second.
my God.
This is an out and out lie. Were there Jews who had slaves? Yes. Were there Jews who were plantation owners? maybe just a couple, not that many, actually. The vast majority were not Jews. In fact, the overwhelming. There was very few Jews in America. Were there Jews who owned some slave ships? Undoubtedly. But this was not run by Jews. It was an industry that was set up by the British, some instances the Dutch, and it was not Jews.
Anglicans.
It was not Jews. Were there, I'm sure, some Jews who owned a couple of boats? Without a doubt.
Yes.
Were there, and like I say, did Jews have slaves? Probably not like in the big numbers, because Jews were not plantation owners.
Yes. And in the beginnings of it, there was an article in the New York Review of Books that talked about this. It's called The Slave Trade and the Jews. And they did like some math on it, that between 1658 and 1674, the Jewish investment in slave trading West India Company rose, but that was basically, it's like slow, like at maximum 16% of the total. Because this was about capitalism in
was
Europe.
An Anglican.
Yes.
They were all Anglicans.
Yes.
There was not a Jewish person in the House of Burgesses.
Right.
Like, the House of Burgesses was the big government body that all the plantation owners got together to use to figure out how we're going to maintain slavery. Like, it's ludicrous.
Yep.
But this is, see the pivot, right? I mean, we're 3 minutes into this clip, and she has gone from Ben Shapiro is a little boy who has been faking it. Okay, agreed. Into Jews created the slave trade.
Wasn't a white man's story.
Up to your true history, because your quarrel is not with white men. Okay, wake up to who publishes these books and keeps us warring with one another. Christians versus Christians, right? Christians versus Muslims. Wake up and learn the true history of slavery, because that wasn't exactly a white men sport, okay?
What?
Jewish people were the ones that were trading us. Jewish people were in control of the slave trade. They've buried a lot of it, but it's there, and you can find it. I think all of us need to wake up to this, because it's making me absolutely sick that he is so bold that he dare sit near Charlie Kirk's chair, that he dare grace that stage when Charlie Kirk knew exactly what Ben Shapiro was and will always be. So again, on your belly, Ben Shapiro.
I mean, again, I got no problem with what she says about Ben Shapiro, but this is where she's headed. And to be fair, it's maybe where she's always been. She's getting a lot more attention now. Again, we had said, Matt and I remember years ago talking about Candace Owens extolling Hitler, but for his like imperial designs. But domestically, he did good stuff. The book burnings, the gas chambers.
Autobahn, I guess.
Central Spiral. I looked it up. There was about a dozen slave ships owned by Jewish people out of the 35,000 total.
Yeah.
Again, like anybody with any sort of passing familiarity of American slavery would not be thinking this is not a white man's sport.
I mean, that's crazy. It's crazy, but that's, I mean,
it like actually,
well, it's not a sport.
It created whiteness almost in this country. Like before slavery had really advanced, it was Christians versus non-Christians. And all of a sudden the black people started being Christians. It's like, wait a second, not like that.
And everything she does and all of this commentary is designed to obscure like the true reality of why people can't get ahead or build or why like black generational wealth has lagged behind that of white people and all of that she's gesturing towards. She finds a group that can be basically pigeonholed and discriminated against, and don't look at the rest of the structure, which is capitalism.
Well, we got to pick this cotton here, and I'm about to pay a lot of money for people, but this here break guy come by and said, hey, wait a second, I got a better idea.
And actually, for any of the anti-Semites listening, Zionism also wasn't originally a Jewish thing. It was originally a Christian colonial thing.
And they have to come up with conspiracy theories to obscure the fact that it was a Christian conquest and capitalism that are behind all of these ails. So just know she's actively misleading you, too.
It's going to be interesting to see if she will retain her audience as she goes down this anti-Semitic wormhole. My guess is
interesting is one word for it.
A significant amount.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, she's already been speaking to damaged people about this whole Charlie Kirk thing, and she did upset a lot of them with the secret meeting with Erica. But who remains is going to be even more of a broken core of cult followers.
Now, let's go back to number 6, because this takes us full circle.
Mm-hmm.
Candace Owens is out there now telling her audience, the black people in her audience, you got to wake up. You got to wake up to what not Whitey is doing. Whitey was not responsible for slavery.
It was the Jews.
It was the Jewies.
Gotcha.
The Jewies were responsible for slavery. And what's fascinating is you've got J.D. Vance at TPUSA telling people we're not going to kick Nick Fuentes out of this coalition because he's controversial, like his controversial opinions that black people shouldn't live amongst us and that Jews are, shouldn't live amongst us.
Controversially called my wife a slur.
Controversial in that he was like, basically called my wife the N-word for Indians. We're not going to kick him out. And he now has come full circle to where, I don't know if it's the full-on horseshoe within conservative, because it's really just more like this,
right.
Right? Like, there's not really this. There's no gulf. But he comes out literally within a day or two of Candace Owens saying, we should not be demonizing white people for slavery because it was the Jews. Here is J.D. Vance with his own extolling of how America is back.
We believe in hard work and merit. Unlike the left, we stand against treating anybody, and I love what Nikki said about this. We don't treat anybody different because of their race or their sex. So we have relegated DEI to the dustbin of history, which is exactly where it belongs.
Can I just comment? Every crowd shot is very old. All the people here are not, like, Turning Point's youth space is supposed to be a college youth outreach thing. All these people are like
good point
55 years old. I mean, not.
Just a lot of interested parents.
In the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore. And if you're an Asian, you don't have to talk around your skin color when you're applying for college, because we judge people based on who they are, not on ethnicity and things they can't control.
Pause it for a second. Now, wait a second. Like, this is contradicting itself, because earlier in the speech, he's saying we're not going to police people who call my wife a Jeet. Well, is that not based upon, what is that based upon? That's not a compliment, right? Or is
I don't
it?
think
Is it a
so.
compliment?
Well, I mean,
he's contradicting himself, and this is the thing, is that it works in that room.
Yep.
But this is why J.D. Vance, and look, this is going to more than likely, going to be the Republican nominee. He could very well be president this time next year, or this time 2 years from now, in the run-up to the 28 election. But this is the contradiction that's not going to be able to hold. He's not going to be able to both maintain. I mean, if I was him, I would not want to be president before 2028, because he's got to stay subterranean to some level so that he can speak to the Nick Fuentes' people and then later in the general speak to normal people.
Yep.
But you cannot both say, I'm not going to disavow somebody for calling my wife a Jeet and everything that implies, because it's not just personal to Usha.
Yeah.
It is calling, we should say, Southeast Asian people, because I thought he was going to go there with Asian, but he wasn't. Southeast Asian people, Jeets, and he can't then turn around and go like, we don't judge people by their skin color. What? What is it? What is the essential part about his wife that is a Jeet, if not her skin color? Has she not acclimated to American customs? Is that what's going on? I mean, that contradiction is going to fall apart. And that's where ultimately he's got to be pressed. And that cleave has got to happen soon. Let's go to this number 7. This is also disgusting insofar as like, I mean, I don't know what decent defense attorney in the world will not use this speech as saying it is impossible for my client to get a fair trial in this country.
Oh, let alone the way that the FBI acted.
Put that aside, but
yeah,
the Vice President of the United States has now said somebody who is the alleged killer of Charlie Kirk is the killer of Charlie Kirk. There has not been an hour's worth of trial that has gone on. The guy just showed up and, and so like, this is so textbook.
But do you think that they know almost that they bungled it so badly with the way that the FBI was leaking all of this false information that they don't care about justice for Charlie Kirk? They're doing a pyrotechnics display and like a booth about where he was assassinated because they are like, this is about getting some sort of political benefit from it, making a martyr of him for Christian fundamentalists in this country.
This clip is very, very strange in that way.
Yep.
And I mean, you also have to like tease out all the sort of like Handmaid's Tale Christian fundamentalism that's in there. But this clip is very, very like, this guy's not an idiot. This was in some ways the most stunning thing that he said.
He said.
Of a true Christian. Scripture tells us, by your fruits ye shall know them. And we might ask, what are the fruits of these people and their principles? And the answer is a man named Tyler Robinson who killed my friend. Think about it. He has everything that the far left want from our young men. He rejected the conservatism and the spirituality, the values of a small town family. He moved into a small apartment. He became addicted to porn. He became addicted to hate. And he ended up sleeping with somebody who doesn't know whether they're a man or a woman. That is the nightmare scenario, but that is the scenario that the left has actively advertised they want for American families. And the young men in the audience in particular. That is exactly why we have to fight them. Because the fruits of true Christianity are men like Charlie Kirk.
Let's be clear. This kid was so bathed in weapons. Now, again, allegedly, he is he killed Charlie Kirk. But the idea that the vice president of the United States would say that this guy's the killer without a single day of trial is sort of stunning.
It's prompted by Candace, I think, in what she's been saying.
that he's trying to get out in front of it.
Well, Erica Kirk, before she referenced Candace explicitly said, we're trying to prosecute this guy, and we don't want the case to be, I guess, unfairly influenced from the outside. referring to Candace because they're worried that Candace and all the stuff she's doing is going to mess up the jury pool. So now they're trying to say like, no, he is guilty. Like, and Candace last week said, no, they actually don't have any evidence. That's her one takeaway from the meeting for her audience was that they don't have any more evidence than they're sharing publicly. So she's not going to stop asking questions.
But this incentive is kind of this. Well, I don't know if it's exactly the same because they look incompetent. If that's the case, then they can't get a conviction. But for Candace's purposes, if this is never resolved, it's literally the dream scenario for her.
And I mean, from their perspective, I just think they're just playing for immediate propaganda value and don't care if it, like even the Luigi stuff, like the way they talk about that is just insane. They like, it's crazy the way that they open investigations get talked about by people who are supposed to be looking into them.
I mean, anytime an immigrant kills somebody, like a young white woman, they're using it in the exact same way that they would the Lake and Riley Act or that girl on public transport in Chicago.
The Brown shooting.
Yeah.
Like these are just propaganda opportunities for them.
All the conspiracy mongering around the Brown shooting by all of the right wingers who decry Candace Owens' conspiracy talk about Charlie Kirk. And this guy going out there and sort of disseminating, for all we know, half truths about any of this. Also, I should also point out that this guy was raised in a very conservative family, again, bathed in guns, gun culture.
How do you solve problems? Shooting them.
Exactly.
Yep.
Gunfighter nation.
Yeah, we have a mass psychosis problem in this country, and the amount of guns that we have doesn't help.
Let's do a couple more clips, and then we'll head out. I want to play this clip of Rick Santelli. He is, this guy's sort of a scumbag. He was the guy who was on the floor of the Chicago commodities exchange complaining that homeowners might get bailed out from loans that were issued by people who are called loan officers. Not loan salesmen, not loan saleswomen, loan officers. Why? Because they had a fiduciary responsibility to make loans that the loaner was capable of paying back. And they didn't because they wanted to sell these on secondary markets. They wanted to make fees. They wanted to sell them into tranches so that they could be securitized, et cetera, et cetera.
Would you be shocked to know his business is derivatives trading?
I would not be shocked. And I should also add that had Barack Obama, instead of bailing out the banks, bailed out the homeowners so that they could then pay off the bank, right? Like the money could have gone in one of two different directions. You go to the bank, all these loans, these bad loans that you have, we're gonna make you whole. And they said, and incidentally, if we make you whole, please cut some slack to the people who borrowed the money.
Yeah, don't throw people out of the homes that you irresponsibly borrowed money to let people live in.
Or they could have paid the homeowner who had then a legal responsibility. They didn't have to ask the homeowner, give the money to the bank.
Yep.
They had a legal responsibility to pay the bank. It could have gone in one of those two different directions. And they decided to give the money to the banks. And oddly, the bank said, thank you for the free money. Now we're going to foreclose on those homes.
And what do you know? The Democrats lost 1,000 seats across the country in the wake of Obama's 2008 victory, with the backlash being so enormous because of the slowness of the recovery, based on exactly what you're saying.
And 2 to 3 million people lose their homes. And then Donald Trump gets elected.
Obama's whole domestic agenda out the window.
By the way, Silicon Valley gets a bunch of free money, cheap money from these banks, and we privatize space for Elon Musk.
Yep.
But here is Frank Santelli. It's a different day, and what's his name? Rick Santelli. A different day, and he's out basically talking about consumer sentiment, which it could be an economic indicator. It's a little bit soft as far as economic indicators come because you just don't know what this means for behavior and whatnot. But as a political issue, it's a problem if you are the party in power and consumers think things are shite.
Michigan sentiment and the inflation metrics embedded in this report. So the mid-month read gets tossed. 53.3 was the mid-month read on the headline. It now moves lower to 52.9. That would be the weakest since it was 51 in November. And I'd like to point out that if you look at the absolute low, it is 50 from June of 22. We're not far away from the low going back to my database in the 70s. Now, if we look at current conditions, same dynamic. 50.7 mid-month becomes 50.4, and 50.4 is a new all-time low, replacing the 50.7. Also, my database goes back into the 1970s. Look at expectations. Same dynamic. Mid-month, 55 now becomes 54.6, and 54.6 will be the weakest since November when it was 51. Michigan sentiment.
So there you have it. I mean, the consumer sentiment is at an all-time low. There was a piece about Donald Trump just doing his affordability tour in North Carolina. And one of the quotes was, that they had to lower the price of the Trump beanies down to $5 because people couldn't afford them.
Wow.
Who were coming to the rally.
Wow. He hates doing those, by the way. What's fun, the affordability ones. Because he gets mad that he has to be on the defensive. So he's lashed out in a variety of different ways, including calling it a Democratic hoax over and over. But you have Susie Wiles and I think his 2024 campaign director, whose name is escaping me, but who's been trying to force him back onto the tracks with affordability. And he just... He is built to be a politician from the outside in that way, and he can't defend what he's done.
His entire life has been set up so he doesn't have to know what affordability means.
Exactly.
And now he has to, in his final years, react to it as the dominant narrative.
About this new word.
What is that? When you have to ask for the price of something
word.
and you're not sure on the price and you feel anxiety? I've never felt that.
Horrible. Really horrible. Last video. I guess we'll have to wait. We can wait on the Tim Pool thing. That thing is evergreen.
We'll do a lot tomorrow too.
I really want. Well, you can talk about that that Savage piece too, I guess. But here is. This has always been something that I felt. This is so validating because I have capitulated and got TSA pre.
Mm-hmm. Pre-check, yeah.
Pre-check. It's like $65 for maybe the year, maybe it's even less than that.
Yeah.
But I resented it. That just on principle, the idea of wait a second, why are we getting this is supposed to be, we're going through security supposedly as a public service to everybody, right? We're keeping everybody safe. Why is it that you can, I would never do the clear thing. I really resented that.
The privatized one.
The privatized one. And now they have another one because it's just what the F? This is messed up. This is messed up. There shouldn't be a speed through based upon your, this is really sort of antithetical to what supposedly public service should be about.
You're telling me that airports are dividing people by class, sometimes by first and then business and then economy?
At least those are private airlines, right? It's the government that pays everybody at those checkpoints. And that's what really gets me. I agree with you on the airplanes.
Yeah.
Our whole society is divided up in class in terms of dollars. But the idea that the government would participate in that, I think is very problematic.
Right. So Zoran talked about this. I guess this was an interview with, Trevor Noah a few days ago.
It feels like New York has, like many cities in the world, fallen into the trap of fixing what needs to be fixed for the wealthy and then sort of ignoring or pushing aside the problems that affect the poor. I think about
I think about when you fly.
Yeah.
We have made it such a difficult experience to go through TSA that there's now a financial incentive to sign up for a separate program that can move you through it quicker.
Yeah.
I mean, we have monetized the dysfunction of flying.
Do you think that's by design, though?
I'm going to leave that to you and Dave, man.
Yeah, convenience is up for sale. Absolutely.
I mean,
convenience has been up for sale for the
but
longest
it's
time.
absurd to me that you should have to pay for the experience that you should already be getting. You're already paid.
We already paid, like, to get to the airport. You paid probably 3 to 4 times more to buy a water and a granola bar and maybe a coffee.
And taxes for the security.
Yeah, and then you get on a plane and they've shrunk the seats to such a degree that you have no breathing room if you are, like, above average in height or weight in any way. It's crazy. And it's already insanely expensive too. And if you have an emergency, you can't cancel. And if the flight has an emergency and cancels on you, you're not really guaranteed to be made whole again. It's late stage capitalism stuff.
The idea, though, like what he's talking about, is these grades of public service. There should be just one grade of public service. Good.
Yep.
That's it.
And it's kind of a tell that, like, there's no all rich or all first class planes. They all need, like, to balance it out with having the rest of us on board in the back of it, which I think kind of tells, like, we could outnumber these people if we wanted to.
Well, then there's private. Then there's private, which we wouldn't even consider.
Oh yeah,
but yeah.
I mean that should be outlawed.
Yeah.
It should be outlawed.
Yeah.
And why is the FAA like this is the whole thing. This again. You want to? I mean, they could privatize the FAA, and you would see planes falling from the skies constantly. Constantly. You have 12 different private FAAs across the country.
North Dakota kind of has private air traffic, and there was a near miss earlier this year. We talked about on the show.
And how many like flights are going over North Dakota?
Exactly. And
like let's see it go into Chicago.
But they said, like, we tried to ask anybody, and they're like, well, we don't have to respond to you about that incident. And there's all these near misses now. A second midair collision reported near Venezuela involving U.S. Air Force. We opened Trump's administration with that helicopter and the plane crashing into each other. Like, we need to focus on what is valuable, and instead we're stretching our resources to accommodate rich people.
Do you think that they know? We just got this IM from Laudi Aman, says American Airlines just announced this weekend that they will no longer reward frequent flyer miles to people who fly economy. I don't know if that's true, but if that's I have some frequent flyer numbers I gotta check out. But do you think that the corporations know that they're doing this consciously in the Trump administration right now? That there's like this grab bag mentality, that they know that something's coming?
They know rich people have too much money.
Right. So I just wonder if it's like, it really feels like all of this stuff, the mergers, the corporate, exploitation of consumers that is just at an all-time high right now. Like, they must just realize we have a short window to expand and make as much money and make this company as big as we can, and we're going to do that. I think the grab bag mentality is definitely there. But I also think there's just an impetus of, like, when you see the space, you go and you take it. It's just like the opportunity is there. You strike. Well, you strike.
Yeah.
You make as much money as you can, as quickly as you can, and get out.
Businesses will do this so long as inequality exists and everyone else has no money and rich people have more money than they know what to do with. The economy will reflect that.
Yep.
All right, folks. Going to read some IMs. These are going to be the final IMs for me for 2025.
Oh.
I don't know. In past years, I've gotten a lot more sentimental. This year, I'm like,
good riddance.
This year
sucked.
It's been a lot.
This has been not even like the calendar year, the fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
It was a rough year. So I'm happy to see this one go. Nick from East New York, all the ink companies making buck this week with redactions. Ty Warren, yay, the app is working for me again. Yes, we had a problem with our restreaming service, and we're using something different. We've got to figure this out. Future Reactionary. All the Shapiro running 30-minute ads on YouTube is yet another reason to stream on Rumble. JK. Scary Carrie. My birthday is during your Christmas break, and I finally have a membership to request this. Can I get an early birthday shofar? Yes, you can. Happy early birthday.
Go Bills.
Central Spiral. Any predictions for next year, Sam? Oh, we should have done that on some of the.
You already did. You predicted Trump would die.
Oh yeah. Oh, did I do that on air
Pretty sure.
so far, or was it?
You did on air.
Okay. Yeah, I think
maybe not.
I think 2026. I think that there is I think there's a 60% chance that he is not president this time next year, or it's been announced that that's my guess. I mean, would I bet on this? No.
Okay.
However, I would bet that we are not going to take an ad for Kamala Harris in 2026.
Okay. Well, now we have to take one to choose the odds or to bet to win the money.
That would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys saw this from this morning, but just on the Bari Weiss thing. Bari Weiss just addressed the 60 Minutes situation on CBS News' 9 a.m. editorial call. She says she pulled the 60 segment on a Salvadoran prison because it did not advance the ball. So
what the?
When I
does
look at
that
Barry, I think that woman knows sports.
But also the point of
what team are we on?
Of 60 Minutes, exactly. But no, what she's saying there's no new news there. But that is absurd. First of all, 60 Minutes.
They interviewed the detainees, and aren't you guys supposed to be the refs, not the players on the field?
It's very strange.
The idea they only do stuff that introduces completely new reporting.
Like
is,
what? How did Erica Kirk advance the ball?
Yeah, exactly.
What did we learn from that?
Well, if the
her
ball
advice
is,
to young women, please.
the ball is getting Barry on TV. Yeah. With all of her charisma.
Exactly. Hack all things. Sam, can you give us our final poggers of the year, please? Thank you. To our Twitch streamers, poggers. May your Christmas and holiday season and New Year's be a massive level 35 hype train. Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Matthew, Philadelphia. Maybe Dave Rubin was right. A drop. Maybe the drop. I'm staying in the race. Hi, Sam. I sent an email about Francesca Hong, a socialist running for governor here in Wisconsin. She's been getting good traction lately, and I think it would be helpful for you to talk about her a little bit. Yeah, we'll look into. I heard about that. And we were contemplating, maybe doing an interview. I just don't know. Governors' races are just sort of doing primaries in governor races are tricky because it's just. It makes us cast our net even further afield, but maybe. Heated rivalry, Canada's state sanction. I don't know. Tomo Flink. Happy Fun Day Monday, folks. Fun fact from MAGA, many Muslim families have been in Europe for longer than many white families have been in the United States. Also, the alpha male Trump testicle caddies would piss their pants and cry after 5 minutes around European soccer fans. All right, I'm going to read 5 more. Bingo Dango. All I can think of is listening to CBS letter is Mario's The Wire quote. You want it to be one way, but it's the other way.
Yeah.
We are firmly in the other way now. Sam, you're being like Thanos right now. Hot local owl. I'm starting to wonder how a guy involved with Epstein could become president. It's almost like he could have some leverage over powerful people.
I don't know if Trump had access to that stuff from Epstein. Trump might have been the subject of leverage.
Seder B. Worth lifting up after last week's discussion on AI data centers, the Michigan Public Service Commission voted unanimously to approve an electric provider's request to fast-track a massive Oracle OpenAI AI data center, bypassing a contested case standard that would have required the commission to consider through evidence and testimony from all sides. It had the full and unequivocal support of Governor Whitmer, despite massive, overwhelming opposition from the public. That's called abundance. Yeah. That is abundance. Tommy from Yacubia. Sam, I asked this question a few years back, but never got a clear answer. Does Bari Weiss's University of Austin have a 28-story tower with an observation deck? And is there an elevator that can accommodate a good-sized footlocker?
I am.
What?
That's a reference to a horrible incident on the campus of UT.
Oh, back in the day.
Yeah, the original sort of sniper.
Yes,
bell tower sniper.
Yes. That was in the 70s.
Yeah.
Early 70s.
Everyone forgot about that now because we've had so many shootings since then.
Yeah.
Jonathan Armstead. Emma, I want to thank you. This weekend when I watched your interview from a few weeks ago with the Vanguard, when one of the hosts said that Candace Owens was objectively more attracted than Zendaya, I like how you jumped in and said Zendaya is an angel sent to earth. As a black nerd, it was manna from above to hear you defend the best girlfriend Spider-Man has ever had.
Oh, well, I don't care about that. But no, she's very talented. And I just thought, I forget who said that. That's just, it's a crazy opinion by Zach or Gavin.
Pretty wild one.
Yeah. Zendaya's like a stunning model.
It's a hilarious opinion.
Nicola, it's capitalism and the imperialism which is bound up in it. It's why a serious anti-imperialist critique has to be anti-capitalist and vice versa. They're playing a game called capitalism. And the final I am, at least for me, of 2025, but not for all of you, Emma will be here tomorrow, comes from, let's see, I'm not going to go Sam's tent pole. Oh, what the heck? Sam's tent pole. This content would have made Against the Web Volume 2 one hell of a read. Emma, the girl on the bus in Charlotte, was a refugee, and she was killed by a deranged American man.
I'm sorry. I must have confused that with the other crime that they tried to elevate. It might have been in Atlanta. I forget. I'm sorry.
All right. Well, let me take one more since that was not even addressed. Kowalski from Nebraska.
You don't want the final I am of your year to be me getting corrected?
No.
Okay.
Kowalski from Nebraska. There is a war on Christmas, but it is a class war. The rich and powerful and fake Christians have done nothing but take what has been historically a sacred time of the year, the winter solstice celebration. We have celebrated the solstice in practically every culture across this planet with feasts, the cessation of hostilities, gift-giving, and singing for thousands of years. It connects us to our ancestors, but these powerful groups have decided to remove the sacred, commercialize the whole thing, and this year inflict austerity upon the population to the point where there will be a lack of feasting in many homes. With SNAP cuts, people are being burdened with excessive healthcare costs, which will make gift-giving practically impossible. There is a war on Christmas. It is a class war. Matt, Brian, and Abstentia, Emma, great job this year.
What?
Folks, see you. Well, Emma will see you tomorrow. I will see you in January.